is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Welcome in to Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla live from Chicago. You can also listen to us on SiriusXM Channel 375 and all of our great radio affiliates around the country. If you want to join us today, you can call us at 310-840-4910. You can also text the same number, 310-840-4910. Abdalla, we are on the air until 3 Eastern today. Is your bracket busted yet?
No, because it's blank.
Because it's blank.
Do you see? This is the most perfect my bracket's ever going to look because it is blank right now. And this is a nice, shiny piece of paper because I haven't messed it up yet. And as soon as I put ink and pen to paper, it will be messed up.
Now, are you someone to fill out 4, 5, 6, 1,000 different brackets trying to win the bracket challenges?
I have one bracket of shame, and that's it. I'm not one that is going to pretend that I know everything here about a Clemson or a McNeese or a St. Louis or an Akron. But I will tell you this, Chris. Hofstra, they are long. If they hit their threes, they can make some noise in this tournament. That's what I'll tell you.
Yeah.
And I will tell you right now, Santa Clara, the 10 seed in the Midwest, they're long. If they can hit their threes, they'll make some noise in this tournament. I'll also tell you in the West, Hawaii, they're long. If they can hit some threes, they'll make some noise in this tournament.
Isn't the phrase long and athletic? You're leaving out a part of the...
Everybody's athletic. They're athletes, Chris.
Well, no, I get it.
That's why they're called athletes. Chris, that's why they're called athletes.
Yes.
They're slapping the floor, Chris. That's what they're doing. They're slapping the floor.
Yeah, okay. You're just hitting the desk. You're not slapping any floor over there.
Do you want me to get down here and slap the floor?
If you want to try and get into a defensive stance
and slap
here
the
in
floor.
our studio, by all means, go for it. If you want to,
it's March, Chris. That's what we do.
Yeah, I mean, the
tournament's here.
Number 1 seeds: Duke, Arizona, Michigan, and Florida on the men's side. For all of your coverage of the NCAA tournament, make sure you download and you check out the Westwood One Sports app. We have you covered for the entire week. The first 4, they start up tomorrow. So tomorrow and Wednesday, you have the first 4 games to get in. And then the field of 64 kicks off on Thursday. We'll have games all day on Thursday, all day on Friday. The tournament is here. And the march to Indianapolis in the Final Four will start tomorrow with the first 4. So, Abdalla, when we look at the number 1 seeds and we look at those teams, Duke being the number 1 overall seed, even though battling injuries, still making their way through a tough ACC to win the conference, and then they get that number 1 seed. I will say, the first glance at the bracket, when you kind of go through, it is interesting how the number 1 overall seed, the Duke Blue Devils, also have a region, the East region, where there's like 3 or 4 other teams that I'm sure a lot of people are going to pick to go very far in the tournament. St. John's being one of those teams, Kansas being one of those teams. You have UConn, Michigan State, all in the East. That's a really good region.
Well, championship caliber teams, championship caliber coaches, anybody could come out of this region from those teams. If you picked any of those teams, I wouldn't begrudge you from that. If you pick Duke, honestly, I wouldn't begrudge you. Even with Caleb Foster dealing with the injury, I know that Shire their coach gave some update and said it's going to be a little bit longer, maybe not the first or second game, but he might miss the whole tournament. We don't know yet what's going on. He's got an injury. So right now, if you said UConn, great. Michigan State, that's when Izzo shines. But again, as where they're seated as a 3 seed, I can't pick them right now. Kansas, I can't pick them either. St. John, would it surprise you if St. John as a 5 seed, if they made it? No, because they have championship caliber coaches, all of these teams. So right now, Duke being a team that's playing well, they won their tournament, their conference tournament. I could pick them to be a team that came out of the East. But any of these teams right now, like you said, that is the toughest bracket out of all of these 4, the East, West, South, and Midwest. All of these brackets, that's easily the toughest and should be the best one to watch when it comes down to starting this week on Thursday when we get to the start of the tournament.
Yeah, and there's a couple of things that, I always try and point out, because I try and figure out all the mathematical sides of how we can figure out who's going to win the tournament, right? I don't like filling out brackets and losing. I want to try and win. and I feel like it's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Like, the one thing that I always point to with the NCAA tournament is everyone wants to get cute. You want to get special. You want to go for the upsets. You want to go for the underdogs and all these different moves. And each year, what we usually find out is when we get to the Elite Eight and the Final Four, it's usually, don't come at me with the teams who have made it to the Final Four who are never expected to, the Loyolas, like the VCUs, when they get there. Those are special. But for the most part, the tournament is about the first weekend is for the underdogs and the upsets.
Yeah.
So when you go from 64 to 32, and then the second weekend, the Sweet 16, the Elite Eight, that's for the big dogs, the blue bloods in college basketball. And usually what ends up happening in the NCAA tournament is chalk usually wins. That's usually the way it goes for the tournament. And that's the way I kind of fill out my bracket. It looks very chalky. There's a lot of big dogs on my bracket getting all the way to Indy in the Final Four.
But it's only happened twice that all number 1 seeds have gotten to the Final Four. It was last year in 2008. That's it. So you can't pick all number 1 seeds. You have to have an upset somewhere. You have to pick a 2 seed or a 3 seed to get to your Final Four. So there has to be some upsets. Like, would it surprise you if Houston won the whole thing? I know we've talked to Josh Graham a lot. You can hear him on Westwood One Nights here on Westwood One, and he talks a lot about Houston. He loves Houston.
Nights. He was on This Morning with Drake.
I know, that's right.
Josh is all over the place breaking down college hoops.
Iowa State, he told us when he joined us last week as a 2 seed, he thinks that Iowa State is the most overrated team in the entire tournament. So I'm not picking Iowa State to come out of the Midwest because I'm going off of him.
I clearly listened to Josh.
You didn't listen. You have them in your Final Four.
In my Final Four
cross
right
them
now.
out.
I've got them in my Final Four right now.
Put that into the garbage right now.
I've got Iowa State beating Michigan to get to the Final Four in the Midwest.
You know, Purdue just won the Big Ten tournament yesterday. They beat Michigan. Would it surprise you if it comes down to them again in the Final Four? If it's Michigan and Purdue in the Final Four, could you see them Purdue beating Michigan and getting to the national championship game if that's the matchup again? So a lot of things could happen. I'm not going to pick all number 1 seeds to make the Final Four. It can't happen 2 years in a row.
I saw this on Twitter yesterday. The tweeter is Connor Allen. He covers, I think, the NFL, but he also has a lot of statistical stuff. He points out that over 95% of NCAA tournament champions in the last 23 years have met both of these criteria. So the criteria is having a top 21 offense and a top 44 defense. So 95% of teams in the last 23 years have had that. So if you look at that threshold, if you look at top 21 offense, top 44 defense, here are the teams that qualify this season in the tournament. There are 9 teams that have that, who could be your 9 teams that could win all of the tournament here in March Madness on the men's side. So number 1 would be Duke. Duke has the 4th highest offense, 2nd defense. Michigan, 8th on offense, 1st on defense. Arizona, 5th on offense, 3rd on defense. Florida, so we're getting all the number 1 seeds out of the way. They're 9th on offense, 6th on defense. Here are the rest of the teams who meet that criteria. It would be Houston, Iowa State, Illinois, Purdue, Vandy. Those are the teams that would meet that criteria. If you look at that threshold, the top 21 offense, top 44 defense heading into this tournament. So those are the teams.
Okay. All right.
So if you're trying to figure out who are the teams, like if you want to get cute and say there's a team that no one's expecting that could win the tournament, chances are the percentages say it's going to be one of those teams.
Okay.
Duke, Michigan, Arizona, Florida, Houston, Iowa State, Illinois, Purdue, and Vandy.
Okay.
Those are the teams.
I'm glad you said Vandy because I just saw Vandy beat the brakes off of Florida this weekend in the SEC tournament. And then obviously Vandy, on Sunday, yesterday, they go on to lose to Arkansas. Arkansas wins the SEC tournament. So if Vandy, can they take care of Florida again? Is Florida overrated? Is it just them exiting the SEC tournament early? Did they just have a bad game? What's the story there? Iowa State, we just talked about them. Josh Graham thinks that they're overrated. You have them in your Final Four. So it's just, who can also go on a run here? Is Duke vulnerable? We talked about their injuries. We talked about guard play. How are the teams going to show up? It just matters which team can get hot and go on a run. You talked about upsets too and Cinderella stories. Like we all love the Cinderella stories. We've seen 2-1 seeds have been taken down before. Is that going to happen this year? It seems like this year, these number 1 seeds aren't that vulnerable. If any of them are, it might be maybe Duke because of the injury, but the way that they played in the ACC tournament, even with the injuries, even with Foster out, I feel like they can, at least for the first and second round, get through that.
I mean, Cam Boozer didn't even play well, and they won the tournament.
Exactly.
So, I mean, in the championship game, so if Cam Boozer shows up and is what he has been for most of the college basketball season, which is in that conversation of he may not be the number 1 pick when we get to the NBA draft this summer, but he might be the second guy that goes off the board. Whatever happens with Darren Peterson, I feel like he could go 2 or 3, and Boozer with a great tournament might move himself into that second spot right behind AJ DeBonsa.
Yeah.
So if DeBonsa's 1, if you go Boozer at 2, and then maybe Peterson at 3, I mean, and that to me is a part of being an NBA fan. I enjoy watching the tournament from that perspective. I don't have a dog in the fight with the tournament. I didn't go to a big state school. I didn't go to one of these schools participating in the college basketball men's tournament. So, like, I enjoy just watching the tournament for what it is, for what college basketball is. But I always keep my eye on the NBA draft and the players who are going to go pro and what they can do in the draft, because I do feel like there are guys who shape our perception of them heading into the NBA based on incredible tournament runs. Some of those being like Dwayne Wade at Marquette or Ja Morant with Murray State. Like what Ja Morant was able to do at Murray State catapulted him to the top of the draft board. It was really cool to see. So like that's the stuff that I keep my eyes on. Plus the big name coaches who are fighting for titles and battling. And we mentioned the East bracket. So last night on Westwood One Sports, Jason Horwitz and PJ Carlissimo broke down the field of 68 for the tournament. Take a listen to what PJ Carlissimo had to say about the East region.
I tell you what, that is going to be a tough bracket to beat. First one revealed. That is a loaded bracket. We got an 8-9 game that's beautiful. Big 10, Big 12. I've got 4 good buddies coming to San Diego. Rick Pitino, I was just so impressed doing the Big East tournament. I'm a little surprised. It's only, I don't know how many Big East teams are going to be in, probably only 3, and I got 2 in the same region. That's a little disappointing that those 2 are going to could collide again to get out of that region, but I think that's a very, very strong region.
So it's PJ Carlissimo yesterday on Westwood One, and you can get all of your NCAA tournament coverage. Just go to the Westwood One Sports app. The East region, I think that is the toughest region of this bracket.
Those are going to be some great coaching matchups, like just the X's and O's, those guys going back and forth. Patino going back and forth with Self is going to be great if those 2 teams match up. I'm glad you brought up AJ DeBonsa a couple minutes ago, because I've heard experts say that BYU could be one and done. I've heard them say that, like, if he gets hot, they could, like, if they match up with Gonzaga in the second round, Gonzaga's usually overrated sometimes in these tournaments. If he plays well and is going to be the number 1 pick and they get past Gonzaga and they end up meeting up with, let's say, Purdue, and they could end up, could a 6 seed be a Cinderella team if the player is going to be the number 1 pick in the draft? I don't know if like a 6 seed is worthy of being a Cinderella team because that number isn't like a double digit, but if the player is DeBonsa and he's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft and everybody starts seeing a player that you're going to see, like Cooper Flagg, he's on Duke. You know what I mean? Like, yeah. Everybody watches Duke. Everybody knows Duke. But, like, nobody, like, I don't know if a lot of people are watching BYU. I don't know if a lot of people are familiar with DeBonsa, like the casual fans that only start watching during the conference tournaments and watching during the actual NCAA tournament here. I think that if you start getting a player who people are like, oh, this guy's going to be the number 1 pick in the draft or could be the number 1 pick, and you go on a run here, and if they get through the first day, they get through the first weekend and beat Gonzaga, then you match up with presumably Purdue. If that ends up being a good game, and if they can beat Purdue, if BYU can somehow beat Purdue and move on, that would be huge.
Yeah, you got to win, though, right?
Well, that's my point. That's my point.
That's where that story, if you face off against Gonzaga and you win, and then it's Purdue, it could turn into a great story to kind of follow, because looming in that bracket, in the West bracket, would be Arizona.
Exactly.
And Arizona's good,
Yeah.
man.
Oh, yeah.
Watch them win the Big 12. I mean, they're really, really good. So I do think DeBonsa and BYU, it's an interesting, and I'm obviously, if you look at my bracket there, I've got them moving along as well, Abdalla. So you read my mind. You read my mind. I would like to see that take place as well.
Interesting.
One of the big storylines over the weekend, though, was when they figure out the bracket of who's getting into the tournament. A great story in college basketball this season has been Miami of Ohio. Would Miami of Ohio get into the tournament? Where would they be placed? Where would they be seated? They get into the tournament. They get the last at-large bid to get into the tournament. And their consolation prize is they play on Wednesday night in the first 4 matchup against SMU. So the Redhawks, Miami of Ohio, will take on SMU, the first 4. You can hear the games on Westwood One. So they start tomorrow night. Texas and NC State will be the first matchup. And then UMBC and Howard will be the second matchup that you have on Tuesday. And then SMU, Miami of Ohio, and then Lehigh and Prairie View will be the final first 4 matchup of the NCAA tournament. It's a way to extend the tournament throughout the week. I always think it's a little gimmicky to get the 4 teams that couldn't get into the tournament, but then the first 4 play the games. I don't know. Call me old school. I think it's kind of gimmicky, but if the games are offered up, I'll watch.
Yeah.
I'll gamble. I'll enjoy.
Yeah.
A part of the conversation last night on Westwood One Sports with Jason Horowitz and PJ Carlissimo, they got a chance to talk to Miami's head coach, Travis Steele, on his team's philosophy.
We don't even have like a necessarily just one guy that we play through either. Like we're a very balanced team. The go-to guy for us is going to be the open guy. We play a little bit less set plays and more we call just flow with concepts. And it really promotes ball movement and player movement. And we play very fast, and we have a lot of guys out there. A lot of times all 5 guys can shoot the ball, pass the ball, and handle the ball, which gives us great versatility and allows us to play the way that we want to play. So we can really, really score. I think for us to have success in this NCAA tournament, we have to defensive rebound. That's my number one focus. And I know SMU is going to challenge us in that area. They get 35% of their misses back on the offensive glass, just looking at their stat sheet. So we know we're going to have our hands full against these guys.
So there you go. Miami of Ohio will face off against SMU 8:15 on Wednesday night. And Abdalla, right now, SMU is the favorite by 7.5 points.
Yeah, it would be really cool to see Miami of Ohio beat SMU and then face Tennessee in the first round.
Go on a run. Get to the Sweet 16.
Yeah,
come on.
Yeah, because
that would be fun.
You've got them going a little.
I got them moving. I've got them moving on the bracket.
I think you should print out another. Did you print out a blank one?
I do have an additional bracket.
Okay, because you should probably redo that bracket.
I don't
Yours
know.
is already busted, I think.
What do they always say? Think long, think wrong?
I think you should think a little longer.
Why not?
I think you thought a little too short.
Too short?
I think you thought a little too short.
I think you and I should come up with our own bracket.
Okay.
The two of us should put our heads together and come up with one bracket, and we should challenge Raj.
Okay.
Raj Sharon is producing the show, as he does each and every day, live from Denver, Colorado. I think we should take on Raj.
Yeah?
Beat Raj. I think that should be the gimmick here.
Okay.
I think we should try and take down his bracket.
Have you ever won any of these, Chris? Have you ever won any of these?
By myself?
Yeah. Have you ever won a tournament?
No, I have
Okay,
not.
Raj, have you ever won a bracket pool ever?
No, I was runner-up
I'm the only
once
one
to
that's won a
somebody
bracket
in
pool?
my office's kid who filled it all out based on mascots, and he beat me.
Okay, I'm the only one that's won a bracket pool, but it's been so long that it was the year that Florida went back-to-back and Joakim Noah got drafted that year. That's how far back. That's how far back it was.
2003?
Yeah, it was far back, guys. Like I was like an intern. Like it was far back a long time ago. But the fact of the matter remains that out of the 3 of us, I am the only one that has won a bracket pool.
We get Laura. Laura's on our team.
Yeah, Laura's on our team too.
So Laura, Raj, we are trying to beat you. So it's Laura, Bleck, and Abdalla.
Okay.
We're going to try and
Beat
beat
the Raj.
you. Beat the Raj with the tournament. What do you think, Raj? Are you up for the challenge?
I am up for the challenge, but I don't think it's going to be much of a challenge for you guys, as stated by Abdalla. I haven't been particularly great at this.
Well, listen, I don't know if I should let Chris fill this out. He's got BYU going to the Elite Eight. He's got Miami of Ohio going to the Sweet 16. He's got Iowa State going to the Final Four. He didn't listen to anything Josh Graham said.
Well,
it's
here's
going one ear out the other.
Listened. I got Houston.
You've got Houston?
Josh is all about Houston.
Okay, fine.
I'm with you on that.
You listen to one thing.
Got
one
Duke,
thing.
Arizona, Houston, and Iowa State.
You've got Duke. He said Duke was vulnerable. What are you doing?
I'm Duke. My team will advance. I'm Duke. I'm
What's
Coach
your
K.
major?
All right, so that's what we got. Beat the Raj. That's what we're going to do here on the show. Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. We do have a big trade in the NFL. A quarterback was traded about an hour ago. We'll tell you about that coming up next. The tournament is coming. 64 teams, buzzer beaters, bracket busters. Upsets nobody saw coming.
This year, DraftKings is giving you a free shot at $1 million with a free-to-play Survivor pool. Pick one team each day of the tournament. If they win, you move on. If they lose, you're out.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code BNA. That's code B&A for Bleck and Abdalla. And enter the free Survivor pool for your shot at $1 million. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY at 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. 21 plus, 18 plus in D.C., Kentucky, New Hampshire, and Wyoming. Eligibility restrictions apply. Void where prohibited. One free entry per customer. Must enter prior to tip-off. $1 million prize split if multiple winners. Terms dkng.co/mania survivor pool. No colleges or universities or the NCAA are affiliated with this promotion.
Follow the big wave of free agency. Who are the favorites to make it to LA for Super Bowl 61? And who has the most work to do heading into the NFL draft? We're breaking down the big news and what it means for your team on Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will be in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Justin Fields was traded this morning from the New York Jets to the Kansas City Chiefs. So the Chiefs have now found their newest backup for Patrick Mahomes, as they've agreed to send a 2027 sixth-round pick to the Jets for Justin Fields. Justin Fields is 27. And he will continue his career now as a backup for Kansas City. Obviously, it's a situation for Justin Fields where you get a chance to sit behind and play behind the best quarterback in football and the best offensive mind in football, with Patrick Mahomes as the quarterback and Andy Reid as the head coach, which hopefully should help Justin, because he's bounced around here of the last couple of years. He had a stop in Pittsburgh, now with the New York Jets. Formerly, he was drafted to the Chicago Bears, and it didn't work. And Justin Fields, essentially, at this point in time in his career, being a good top-level backup is the best thing. And perhaps as he continues to develop, maybe somewhere down the road, he has a chance to start again, a la like Geno Smith, with his multiple opportunities that he got, and then finally having a good one with Seattle, and then starting for quite some time, and then signing a new contract with the Vegas Raiders. Justin Fields traded to the Kansas City Chiefs. I think this is a great move for Justin Fields.
Well, I think he's also going to have the chance to start for the Chiefs. There's no guarantee that Patrick Mahomes is going to be ready to start the year.
But the moment he's ready, he's
of course,
the starter.
I understand that, but
You're not bringing in Justin Fields as a possible solution. He is a backup quarterback.
I understand that, but there's no guarantee week one that Patrick Mahomes is ready. As of right now, we don't know if Patrick Mahomes is going to be ready week one. So right now, Justin Fields could be your week one starter, and that's an audition. If he gets all the first team reps, if he's learning everything from Andy Reid, if he's learning all this stuff under the Chiefs system, if he comes in and plays really well for a week or two, that Patrick Mahomes is out. And then, of course, obviously, as soon as Patrick Mahomes is healthy, he's going to come back in and play. And then teams can say, all right, now we're going to go sign Justin Fields the way that teams have signed, not the same as Kyler Murray or Tua Tagovailoa because he's not, but the same as Malik Willis and the same as other quarterbacks, and say, hey, maybe we can take a chance on this guy because maybe Andy Reid and that system can do the same thing that Kevin O'Connell and the Vikings have done for Sam Darnold, and maybe he's going to do for Kyler Murray, and that he's done for Daniel Jones when he went to the Colts and they were a great offense last year until Daniel Jones got hurt. This is great for Justin Fields because, like you said, he gets an entire year in a great offensive system and now he's got nothing to lose. And according to Schefter, other teams were interested, but they did Fields a favor and went to the Chiefs because Chiefs were one of the teams that were interested, and he wanted to go there.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. The news breaking about an hour ago, Justin Fields traded to the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, Justin Fields, as a quarterback prospect, was someone that I thought was a bit of a can't miss. I thought Justin Fields was going to be a really good player in the NFL, and I think they were playing in the Sugar Bowl, when he got speared in the chest and stood in there in the pocket and threw a dime when he was playing for Ohio State. And in that game, he was incredible. I just didn't think that – I thought he was the type of quarterback that would develop in the pocket. Mm-hmm. And what we've seen to this point in his career is that Justin Fields is an ultra incredible athlete. He is one of the best athletes in the entire league. But when he has to stand in the pocket and make decisions and make the right throws and make the throws on time, you can confuse Justin Fields very easily as a defensive coordinator. And that's why Justin will just never be a top level or a starting quarterback around the NFL. And that's why he's a backup and why it didn't work out with the Jets and why it didn't work with the Pittsburgh Steelers and why he's no longer with the Chicago Bears is that his athleticism can take him pretty far. It's just the other stuff as being a quarterback is where he starts to kind of lack what others in the NFL have to be a great pocket passer every single down. He no doubt can sprint around the edge and beat an edge rusher and then get past a linebacker and bowl over a safety and then run 75 yards for a touchdown. We've seen Justin Fields do that in multiple uniforms. It's just when he has to be in the pocket as a pocket passer, he is just not the caliber of quarterback to be a starter in the league. And so now he gets a new opportunity with Kansas City to kind of learn in a good spot.
Yeah, and I think that you saw flashes everywhere. Like there was always be like a great game where he would throw for a couple touchdowns and run for a touchdown. And you even saw there were games last year with the Jets where there would be like, okay, he's having a great game and he's rushing for a touchdown here and he threw for 2 touchdowns and he had over 200 yards and close to 300 yards passing. And you're like, this is great. And then the next game he would throw a couple interceptions and take a bunch of sacks and be, like you said, a good defense would come in and confuse him because he's easily confused by different coverages and certain defenses. And every time you would see a spark, and this is what happened in Chicago, every time you would see a spark or a flash for a couple games, then you would ride the roller coaster and you would take the downslope. And then there would be 2 or 3 games where, all right, well, this is what it is. And every time the Bears got a new offensive coordinator or a new head coach, you'd be like, okay, well, maybe this is the change. And eventually it was just, no, this is not going to work. It's time to move on from Justin Fields. And that's exactly what Chicago did. And he left. And it was, hopefully this is a change for him and he can become the next Geno Smith and shine somewhere, maybe even the next Sam Darnold or the next Malik Willis or whatever, and get a chance to prove himself for a couple games if Mahomes can't start right away, or at least learn something from Andy Reid and the Chiefs system, and then someone will take a chance on him in 2027.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. We broadcast each and every day live from Chicago. And you and I, if there's one thing we're qualified to talk about on national sports talk radio, it's failed quarterback play. Because all we've seen our entire lives is bad quarterback play, being fans of the Chicago Bears. And so the Justin Fields era and what took place in Chicago with Justin Fields when he was drafted, listen, he's a nice kid. He works hard. It's just there's something that doesn't take. There's something when he's back there in the pocket and a decision needs to be made quickly. It just doesn't fire. There's just something amiss. And I've felt that way for years talking about Justin Fields. And it's funny, we're hosting this national radio show now, and it's like time is a flat circle where Bleck and Abdalla are now discussing the game of Justin Fields and whether or not he can be a legitimate starter in the NFL. It's like one of the go-to topics that I've spent most of our professional career talking about in the last 10 years is, can Justin Fields play at quarterback? And the greatest decision the Chicago Bears made was moving off of Justin Fields the moment they realized he wasn't the guy, and then pivoting towards a new prospect being Caleb Williams, who is the guy. And it's the first time we can watch a quarterback as Chicago Bears fans having a positive thought for the future because this guy seems to get it. And so, here's the thing that I always found interesting with Justin Fields. There is a wide gap between what the highlights show you and what people see on social media and the actual play of Justin Fields. And I don't know if there's any player in the NFL that has a wider gap in between great player in the highlights and then below average player when you watch each and every game, each and every down and distance and series throughout a game. And that was the conversation with Justin Fields, is that you would see a national media member, you'd see someone who drops in and says, hey, Justin Fields can be the guy. Look at this 65-yard touchdown run against the Green Bay Packers. Or did you see that crazy play against the San Francisco 49ers where he ran backwards and forwards and backwards again, and then he ran into the end zone? Like, that guy's going to be awesome. And so you would see these things where people would promote Justin Fields as this great next-level player. And then it's like, are you really watching the games? Because he's not. And so the reason I bring that up and why I think it's important is the context of being a Chicago Bears fan when you were following this was when Justin Fields was going through training camp year one, and then in year two and year three. What would happen is with young quarterbacks, camp is usually up and down. But then at a certain point, if a guy gets it, things start to take. And the reports always about Justin Fields were like, it's not
yet.
It's not really. It's year two. Yeah, no, it's not. It's not really changing from what we saw year one. Year three, it's not really. Justin's not really. It's not it. So hopefully he improves. And hopefully as a backup, he eventually finds his way as a solid starter somewhere else after he has his stint with Kansas City, with Andy Reid, with Patrick Mahomes.
Well, and the problem was it wasn't even national media members. It was fans.
Well, there are fans too.
You had the fans that were just watching clips and not watching games. And
I point out the national media members because that would then get the local fans riled up over, hey, this guy's going to be it. And it's like, you're not actually watching what's taking place.
And he was easily one of the most polarizing figures since you and I have been doing this. It's been him, and it's been Jay Cutler, and it's been Derrick Rose. It's been those three guys have been the most polarizing three players since you and I have been hosting, producing radio shows that fans have gotten the most riled up about. And moving on from Justin Fields and he's going to go to another team and the Bears are going to regret this. The Bears, have they regretted it?
No. And
I don't think so.
I don't think the Jets will regret moving on, and I don't think the Pittsburgh Steelers are regretting the fact that they moved on from Justin Fields as well. So that's the breaking news in the NFL. Justin Fields traded to the Kansas City Chiefs, and we'll keep our eyes on the latest going on in the NFL here on Westwood One Sports. It's Bleck Abdalla hanging out with you. If you want to join the conversation, you can call us at 310-840-4910. You can also text the same number, 310-840-4910. So Justin Fields gets traded to Kansas City. Will A.J. Brown get traded from Philly to somewhere else here in this offseason? We'll talk about A.J. Brown next.
What a free agency. Troy Hendrickson's now in Baltimore. Kenneth Walker's with the Chiefs. And Mike Evans is in San Fran. We're keeping tabs on what the moves mean and which teams have the most work to do on Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Over the weekend, we found out, based on Dallas Goedert signing with the Eagles, getting a new contract, getting new money with the Eagles, that this report came out from Diane Rossini from The Athletic after that took place. Here's what the tweet says. After serious conversations with both the Rams and the Patriots, the Eagles will not trade A.J. Brown at this time, according to multiple league sources. Both teams remain interested, but no move is imminent. If a trade were to happen, it would likely heat up closer to June 1. And I saw that report, and for a couple of things, it's interesting. So it seems like A.J. Brown is on the back burner for right now. But then when you say the teams that were interested in trading for A.J. Brown are the Los Angeles Rams and the New England Patriots, well, it makes sense that the Patriots would want A.J. Brown. The Rams, how does that make any sense? They have Devontae Adams.
Mm-hmm.
They have Puka Nacua.
Mm-hmm.
They've got great wide receivers. So would that mean that Devontae Adams would be on the move from Los Angeles if the Rams are able to get A.J. Brown from the Eagles?
I think so, because do you think Devontae Adams is better or worse than A.J. Brown?
I think you get better production from Devontae Adams.
You do?
I would next season. I would probably. I know you're looking at the stats. I would rather have Devontae Adams over A.J. Brown.
Well, Devontae Adams had more touchdowns. Obviously, he had 14. He had double the touchdowns that A.J. Brown did, but he had less yards. So if you want, I think it depends on what you're asking each of these guys to do. And I don't want to. The problem here is, by saying what I'm going to say, it's going to sound like a shot at Jalen Hurts. And I think that people take unnecessary shots at Jalen Hurts. I don't think Jalen Hurts is a bad quarterback. I think at times Jalen Hurts can have accuracy issues, and I just think that it's not a knock on Jalen Hurts to say that Matthew Stafford is a better quarterback. It's not. Matthew Stafford won the MVP. It's not a knock on Jalen Hurts to say that a quarterback is better than him. So Matthew Stafford is a better quarterback. Would A.J. Brown be better with Matthew Stafford than Devontae Adams would be with Matthew Stafford? Like, that's my point here.
Yeah.
Is that would you get more out of A.J. Brown than
is
you
he invested?
would?
Is he participating?
Yeah,
or is he going to be reading a book on the sidelines because he's moping because Puka Nacua is getting 17 balls his way, and in every big spot, Stafford is looking towards Puka Nacua.
Well, I mean,
answer that question.
You're not going to not look. You're not going to not look.
Okay, as a second
Puka
fiddle,
Nacua.
as a second fiddle, who will be a better teammate, A.J. Brown or Devontae Adams?
Well,
I think
Adams,
Devontae Adams will be a better
Devontae
teammate.
Adams is also 34 years old.
Okay,
and A.J. Brown is 28.
I understand.
Like, one of them is, yes, he's very good, but he's also getting up there in age. And I think at a certain point, if you're trying to make one final run at this, you want the best guys possible, and I think A.J. Brown might give you a better shot at this.
It is. When I saw that report on Saturday, that was my whoa. It wasn't, the Eagles aren't trading A.J. Brown right now. They likely will. And in my opinion on this matter is, listen, we know how this is going to work. Okay, they're not going to trade him right now at this time. Okay. Well, let's talk again at the end of April at the NFL draft. Let's talk again at June 1, like Rossini is suggesting that could be the case. A.J. Brown is not playing for the Eagles next season.
No.
That's not going to happen. He's not going to be playing for Philadelphia next season. Whether or not it's Jalen Hurts' inaccuracy and his inability to get him the football or not, that's not going to work moving forward. So A.J. Brown will be somewhere else. New England makes a lot of sense.
It does. And if New England is going to do this, this is going to be a pre-draft move for New England because they have the 31st overall pick. If this is a move for LA, this is a post-draft move because LA has a much higher pick because they have the Falcons pick. They're not going to do this. I don't think they're trading a, 13th overall pick is what they have. I don't think they're going to trade right now the 13th overall pick because you can use that and build for your future. I know the Rams mantra is F the picks. But there's a big difference between trading the 13th overall pick and trading what they ended up trading, like the 30th or 29th overall pick, to the 29th overall pick to the Chiefs for Trent McDuffie. That's a big difference. Because if you're going to trade for A.J. Brown and this is all in this year, we have to win this year because we know Stafford is leaving, this is everything, you can trade 27 picks. That's fine. You can trade 2027 draft picks because you can trade your first round pick for next year because you assume it's going to be the 32nd or 31st pick because you're going to the Super Bowl. Yeah. And if Stafford's leaving, whatever. Because if you can hang a banner at the end of the year, no one's going to care where you're drafting it if you don't have that pick. Because the Rams fans are going to be happy with a Super Bowl in L.A. You won in L.A. and Stafford's leaving, that's fine. Because the last time where they won in L.A. So if they can do that.
I don't think that matters.
It does matter.
Team building.
It does. It matters for the fans. It does.
Well,
It'll matter. It'll matter for the fans.
To Rams Nation, sure.
But that's what it matters for. Rams fans won't care about that 2027 pick, trading it for A.J. Brown and saying bye to Devontae Adams if it means they get a Super Bowl.
Pro Football Talk also reported that the Rams were pushing and pursuing an Adams trade before his roster bonus was due yesterday. Yeah. So got the roster bonus yesterday. We'll see if that develops with the situation with Devontae Adams with the Rams. And then, of course, with A.J. Brown and the Philadelphia Eagles, we'll see if he is traded at some point here in the offseason. I think he will be. Bleck Abdalla, sponsored by Robinhood. You can expect more from yourself. Expect more from your money. Learn more and get started today with Robinhood at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Abdalla, did you get a chance to watch the Academy Awards?
I did.
Yes, sir. Are you a big movie buff?
I am.
Big fan of film?
Actually, I am, and I'm also a Conan O'Brien fan.
Yes.
So we don't get to watch Conan do a lot of things anymore.
No,
so
he's the best.
Yeah.
He's the very best. All
He
right,
is.
so I do want to get your opinion on something. Can we call up Adam Abdalla, our Westwood One Sports fashion hot cop? Can you put your hot cop pants on and give us a little fashion breakdown on what took place last night at the Academy Awards? Did you see Kevin O'Leary? You know who Kevin O'Leary is from Shark Tank?
Mr. Wonderful.
Mr. Wonderful?
Yes.
Bald guy?
Yes.
Did you see what he was wearing around his neck? He had a one-of-one card featuring Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, and LeBron James, which is worth to be around $25 to $30 million. He was wearing this on a chain around his neck on the red carpet at the Academy Awards. Fashion hot cop, Adam Abdalla, your thoughts?
Thumbs down. Thumbs down on this because I think he did this at the Golden Globes or the SAG Awards where he won a 2 autograph one, which was worth slightly less. So he's been upgrading the cards as he goes through the awards circuit.
Okay.
This is some very Jake Paul Pokemon card.
Yeah, is he pushing
stuff.
Some kind of like
I don't know.
market deal?
I don't know.
Where he's
I don't know. This is also the same guy that wears 2 watches at the same time.
On each arm?
One on each wrist because he's got so many nice watches. He pimps these watches.
Oh my
and
God.
so he's like, I have all these nice watches. Why wouldn't I wear 2 of them at the same time? And so
because, sir, you look like an idiot.
Exactly.
That's why you don't wear 2 at the same time.
Exactly. So thumbs down for me to Mr. Wonderful. I liked Marty Supreme.
Therefore, I am out.
Listen, I'm out. Yeah, I'm out on this. I liked Marty Supreme. I thought it was a very good movie. He played, I don't know if he played himself, but he played a very good bad guy in Marty Supreme.
Oh, you're giving away the plot.
What's wrong with giving away the plot of a movie?
I haven't seen it yet.
I didn't tell you what happens.
You said that O'Leary's the bad guy.
There's nothing wrong with knowing that Kevin O'Leary is the bad guy in the movie.
You spoiled that. Earlier today, you told me that there's vampires and sinners.
What's wrong with knowing the plots of movies?
You're ruining the movies.
Do you know what the Bruce Springsteen movie's about? It's about Bruce Springsteen.
The singer?
Yeah.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. Thank you for your service as our fashion hot cop here on Westwood One Sports. The singer? We'll talk about the tourney coming up next here on Westwood One Sports.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
It's Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. You can also listen to us on SiriusXM Channel 375 and all of our great radio affiliates around the country. I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla, broadcasting live from downtown Chicago. We are on the air until 3 Eastern today. And you can always call us at 310-840-4910. You can text the same number, 310-840-4910. Abdalla would like to know your upset special for the tournament on the text line.
I would.
Yeah, you would. You told me earlier, this is a surprise to you, but you told me earlier that we would like to know your upset special, 310-840-4910 for the NCAA tournament. I have BYU getting to the Sweet 16. I also have Miami of Ohio getting to the Sweet 16, which might be a little bit troublesome since they have to get out of the first 4 game tomorrow night.
As a 7.5-point underdog.
As an underdog, but I want to see the team that went undefeated, the mid-major squad, Miami of Ohio. I want to see them do something in the tournament. I think that would be a great story. As we kind of break down the NCAA tournament, yesterday was Selection Sunday. The games start tomorrow. Thursday and Friday, that's the day you call off work, you listen to the radio, you watch the games, you find your friends at the bar, you park the bus, and you sit there at the bar for 6, 8, 10, 12 hours. The waitress has to, they have to get you a check because she's leaving, but you're staying.
Shift change.
Yeah. We've done that before.
And not hockey.
For a tournament day of action.
Yeah.
So it's a great time of year, and we're talking about it here on Westwood One Sports.
It's the only time I think that office printers are in use these days. Yeah, I think that it's the only time they get started up these days is when people are printing out brackets and maybe resumes to move on from that company, because it's the only time.
Well, you shouldn't be using that printer.
Well, listen, you gotta use it when people aren't looking. You gotta fire that thing up if you gotta get to work a little bit early. Maybe you gotta stay a little bit late. You gotta put that card stock in and then take it out. You always open up whenever you print something. You're like, why is this thing on card stock? Oh, someone printed out a resume.
Is that really what people do?
Has that ever happened to you before? That happened to me before. I printed something out and I was like, why is this thing on cards? Oh.
Well, I've seen someone's resume left on the printer before.
I've definitely seen that before. That's great. It's like someone is job hunting. That is funny.
Well, I mean, you and I don't have this isn't a real job.
No, this is fun.
We're talking, we're hanging out, we're talking about sports.
This is our job. I would have to justify this to someone in this office and be like, why are you printing off a bracket? I'd be like, well, we're hosting a sports show. I kind of need this for my job.
My point is for those of you listening to the show and you're working wherever you are in this country and you're sitting at your desk, you know how it goes. Office politics. You're trying to figure out your bracket.
Yeah.
You're not actually working today. No one's actually working today. But it is funny to think about, like, trying to print that stuff off in a normal job setting so no one knows that you're job
because no one
searching.
uses printers anymore. Everything is online. The only time, and you have to wait for the printer to fire up. It's got to warm up. You've got to sit there. It's like, you never use the printer. Why are you standing by the printer?
Oh, I'm just trying to stretch.
Yeah. I'm getting my steps in.
Maybe there's a window over by the printer. You're going to take a look outside.
It doesn't work. IT is there to try to fix it for the first time in like a year because last year's the only time the printer's been used to print out brackets.
I mean, do you have one of those crappy printers at home?
Oh,
the one that they like throw into the bundle when you get a new computer, and the
Yes.
thing is a piece of trash.
I do. It's in a closet, and I don't even think it has ink in it because we don't use it.
There's no ink in ours, and there's no paper in it.
No, yeah.
It's just sitting on the bottom of a desk collecting dust.
Yeah.
And it's like, we should just throw it away, but it's difficult to justify just throwing something away that theoretically works.
It's a very millennial thing to still have a printer. And it's also, I guarantee you still have the box for that computer and the box for that printer somewhere because you don't want to throw away the box. Because you never know when you might need the box.
No, we throw away boxes.
Oh, okay.
We throw away boxes.
I read
in my
that it's a
household.
very millennial thing to keep boxes for
really?
big purchases.
Oh, really?
Like I have a Mac, so to keep the box that this Mac came in, to be like, just in case, like if something's wrong with it and I got to return it, even though I've had this thing for over a year, to like keep the box. I actually don't think I have the box.
Well, I do know this, and I know we're getting sidetracked here. We're talking about the tournament. So this is what I'm getting sidetracked though.
Yeah.
As a millennial, being 40, the one thing that I do subscribe to is that a very millennial thing to do is to think that big purchases should be done on a laptop or a computer. Like if I have to make a big purchase, even though I can do it on my phone, with the same ease of use as any other piece of technology. If I'm making a big purchase, I have to switch off from the phone and go to a computer and type it in and officially make said purchase on a computer. And that to me makes me old.
I definitely bought this computer on another computer, but my old computer was broken, so I had to use another computer to buy this computer because I wouldn't buy it on a phone, like to go on like the Apple app and just use it to buy the computer.
Meanwhile,
it would work. It would work just fine.
There's an auto purchase right there on the app. You don't have to fill anything out.
No, nothing. I could also just walk into the store and be like, that one, please.
Well, yeah. Who's going into any store anywhere anyway?
That's even worse. That's the Gen X move. That's even worse.
Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. If you text the show, 310-840-4910, your upset special for the tournament. So we have a texter from the 815 who texts us NCAA tournament, Arkansas, which I have seen a lot of people suggest that Arkansas could go on a run. They are a team out of the West region. They face off against Hawaii. It's a 4-13 matchup. Arkansas is 26-8, and Hawaii, they are 24-8 heading into this matchup. 4-13. Arkansas is the upset pick from our friend, our texter at the 815.
I don't see any reason to disagree. I just know that I'm putting Arizona in my Final Four. Arizona is such a strong team that I find it hard to pick any team in this against them. I know that Purdue matchup is going to be, if it gets to be Purdue, obviously this texter from the 815 has Purdue, have Arkansas beating Arizona and then beating Purdue there, I would assume. But if they get there, that'll be a good game. I think that Arizona ends up beating Purdue and going to the Final Four there.
When we look at the tournament overall for the men's side, Duke number one seed overall. Arizona, Michigan, and Florida are your other number one seeds. And it lines up with, I use Ken Pom often when I try and figure out these matchups and look at college basketball information. And the Ken Pom rankings have Duke number 1, Arizona 2, Michigan 3, Florida 4. The next 4 teams would be Houston, Iowa State, Illinois, and Purdue. So if you're trying to figure out which teams could make a run, the teams that are maybe not on the number 1 seed line, who can make a run, that's where you're starting to look. And you and I discussed it a little bit earlier on the show is I think Houston's a team that could be dangerous, that could go far in this tournament. Houston's the second seed in the South bracket. They face off against Idaho to get things started as a 2-15 matchup. Another team that I've pointed out that I think could be dangerous would be Iowa State. That's also a 2 seed in the Midwest. So Iowa State gets things started with a 2-15 matchup against Tennessee State. And then also Purdue. Purdue wins the Big Ten. So Purdue, in their situation, if they can move on and what they saw, they're playing really good basketball. It'd be interesting to see Purdue as how highly they are ranked in KenPom, the 8th best team according to KenPom.
You mentioned Illinois, and I know us broadcasting out of the great city of Chicago, we know a lot of Illinois fans, and I've never seen a fan base more down on their team than I think Illinois in this tournament. Like, I know they've had some bad losses. They lost on the road to UCLA. They've lost to Wisconsin. Like, this is a team where I just think that the fan base themselves is just very down on this team going into this tournament and doesn't think that they can go on a run. I know they're high in KenPom that you mentioned, but the fan base themselves doesn't think this team, they don't like Underwood very. They think he doesn't perform well in big games. Like, this is a team that they're not a fan of making a run in this tournament.
A couple other teams that catch my eye, if you look at the seedings of the brackets and then you try and look at KenPom to see where the teams rank, Vanderbilt, looking at Vandy and where they're at, they're the 5th seed taking on McNeese in the South region. So it's a 5-12 matchup, which is always tricky, right? You always have to watch out. You always have to pick at least one 12 seed to upset a 5 seed. But in KenPom, Vanderbilt is ranked as the 12th best team in the country, and they're a 5th seed. So is that a team that could perhaps surprise people? The other one that jumps out to me, Vandy being a 5th seed but ranked 12th in the country, would be Tennessee. Tennessee is 16th in KenPom, and I believe Tennessee is a 6th seed.
Yeah.
So they take on either the winner of Miami of Ohio and SMU. That game will take place, I believe it's tomorrow night. Mm-hmm. And so that game in the first 4, they will face off against Tennessee. So that's another team because Tennessee is ranked 16th, even though they are a 6th seed. So just a couple of things, statistical items to kind of keep your eye on. I always follow the idea that chalk wins out in the NCAA tournament. Picking upsets and picking all the cute games early is fun for Thursday and Friday of this week. But then when we get past the weekend and we look ahead at next weekend, the Sweet 16, it usually feels like the chalky teams are all rising to the top.
Well, Vanderbilt beat the brakes off of Florida in the SEC tournament, but then they ended up losing to Arkansas. We just talked about Arkansas being a team that could maybe go on a run here. And then Tennessee, I know you've got them losing to the darlings that are Miami of Ohio.
Yes. Yes,
but,
they are.
You know, Tennessee, it will be a tough out, I think, in this tournament, assuming they get past the gauntlet that is Miami of Ohio. Virginia's a strong team. They've got to go against if they get, Iowa State is in that bracket there too. So Iowa State, when we talk to Josh Graham, who hosts weeknights here on Westwood One, he's our college basketball expert. He thinks that Iowa State is the most overrated team in the tournament. So that's if they get past Virginia in that small bracket there in the second weekend or the second day there. If they end up matching up with Iowa State there, maybe they could take down Iowa State and get there. So I could see Tennessee making it that far for sure.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. We have all of your tournament coverage for you right there on the Westwood One Sports app. When the first 4 kicks off tomorrow, and then you have all of the action throughout the first 4, and then also Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and throughout the NCAA tournament, Westwood One is your home for the NCAA tournament. So make sure you download and have the Westwood One Sports app. You can find all of the games, you can find all of the shows, all the breakdown right there on the Westwood One Sports app. Is the NCAA tournament in the Final Four the best postseason? When we look at all of the different sports and the different postseason tournaments and the ways that you crown a champion in every different sport, college and pro, is March Madness, the brackets, the tournament, is that the best?
I mean, the NFL is the one that I think is still, because there's so few games. And it's obviously the one that rates the highest, right? Like it's the one that we look forward to. Like the Super Bowl is the highest rated thing all over the world, right? It's the Super Bowl. Everybody watches the Super Bowl. Everybody watches the halftime show. Everybody watches the Super Bowl. I think that the tournament itself is something that people look forward to, and it's probably the one thing that people parachute into the most. Like the Super Bowl itself, that one singular game, is probably the one thing that people parachute into the most. But the actual tournament itself, this first weekend and then the next weekend, is something like we just talked about. Like Raj told us, a kid who printed out a bracket and filled it out based on mascots that he liked, won an office pool. Like that is something that doesn't happen in the NBA. It doesn't happen in the NFL. Like this thing involves everyone. I think the way that the NFL has it, obviously everybody watches the NFL. The NFL is the most popular sport in America. This is something that I think is different because brackets are fun, filling out this and following along in the games. You can do it based on the mascots. You can just do it based on coaches. You can do it based on anything. This is the most fun, I think. There's a difference between the most fun and the best. This is the most fun, I think.
You know, when you look at the other sports, the Stanley Cup playoffs and the Cup final are incredible. The action, the go home sudden death situations you get in hockey when you get an overtime game in a clinch spot, like those moments you can't replicate in other sports. In baseball, the Major League Baseball playoffs and the World Series are great. I told you last week the reason why I like the World Baseball Classic is because tournament baseball is incredible.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you lose me, Chris Bleck, sometimes in the middle of June, in July, when you got a team down 7 runs and you got random relievers out there hurling and no one really cares what's going on and they're just out there. Like that, to me, I don't really enjoy. But when you get to tournament baseball in October, like that's amazing. The NBA playoffs, the NBA finals, it's good. It's great. It's when basketball is at its best.
Yeah.
You could argue that the NBA is its best product is when it has to be at its best, and that's in the NBA playoffs, the NBA finals. The one that won't factor in at all for me in any of this will be college football and what they've done to the playoff. The college football playoff kind of sucks. It just is. It's nothing compared to the men's and the women's college basketball tournaments.
No.
It wants to be that desperately. It's not that.
Adding more teams is not a solution either.
So if you had to stack them, I think the NCAA tournament in the Final Four is great to me because I feel like you could be a diehard college basketball fan and then appreciate the tournament and appreciate the Final Four just as much as someone who did not watch college basketball at all, but they want to participate this week.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think there's any sport out there that gets so many casual sports fans to jump in at the start of the playoff. Like this doesn't happen in the NBA or the NHL. It doesn't even happen in the NFL. You mentioned it. It's America's #1 sport. So people are already paying attention to how the football playoffs are going to. You get a lot of people who just jump in because they went to Louisville or they went to Miami, Florida. Or they went to, Georgia or Akron or Hofstra. Any of these schools are in the tournament this year.
Yeah.
They jump in now because this is their time. And that's why for the next couple of weekends, the next 3 or 4 weekends, everyone's kind of participating. And I think that's what makes the NCAA tournament so much fun.
I don't even think it's that. I don't think it has to do with the schools or whether you went to UCF or UMBC or Wright State. It's the only sport out of all the sports that you mentioned and the way we started talking about this where I got the beats, where I have this, where I had to fire up a printer, whether it's at work or at home, where I have this. I don't print one of these out for the NFL.
Right.
I don't print out a bracket for the NBA playoffs.
Right.
We don't have an office pool for the NHL playoffs. We don't do that. We do this we only do this for the NCAA tournament. It's the only tournament where we do this. And so because we have this, it's the most fun and it can involve anybody. That's why. We don't do this for baseball playoffs. I'm not writing in Dodgers all the way through.
We could.
I'm not writing in Dodgers. I'm not like, well, Chris, I've got the Cubs going all the way.
Should we have beat the Raj for the Major League Baseball playoffs as well?
The NHL playoffs are starting up soon. We're gonna beat the Raj.
Beat the Raj. So that's what we're gonna do here on the show as we follow along with the tournament. Raj Sharon produces the show each and every day here on Westwood One Sports on Bleck and Abdalla, and we are going to try and take down Raj. Beat the Raj. Laura's on our team. Laura produces the show as well each and every day. We claim Laura on our team. So the three of us are going to put our heads together. We're going to try and come up with one singular bracket. We're going to try and take down Raj. Beat the Raj. Can't wait to do that. So we will update you as we fill out our bracket. And we will try and take down Raj as well. Speaking of Raj, we will go one-on-one with Raj. Who will be the starting quarterback for the Kansas City Chiefs at the start of next season? We'll talk about that next. DraftKings Sportsbook, the number one sportsbook for live betting, is built for March. The tournament is unexpected. Rewards are guaranteed.
DraftKings Sportsbook is delivering the most generous rewards in the market with DraftKings, the number one sportsbook for live betting. You're not betting what might happen. You're betting what's happening.
New to DraftKings, bet just $5 and get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code B&A. That's code B&A for Bleck and Abdalla, and turn $5 into $200 in bonus bets instantly. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. Must be 21 plus in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bonus bets are non-cash credits that expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gambling resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Limited time offer ends April 5th, 2026.
Afraid to miss a tournament game because of conflicts? Don't fret. You can listen to every March Madness matchup on the Westwood One Sports app. Download it now from your home of the NCAA tournament. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
Broadcasting each and every day from the great city of Chicago, I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla. It's now time to go one-on-one with Raj as he joins us live from Denver, Colorado, producing the show each and every day here on Westwood One Sports. And Raj, not only are we going to go a little one-on-one with you, but Abdalla and I are going to put our heads together. Laura's going to be on our team. Beat the Raj this week for the NCAA tournament. Our bracket against yours.
You know what? I'm not surprised from you, Black, but Abdalla, I expected more. Home team, man. You guys are just ganging up.
I understand. I know.
Where's the
I know.
loyalty, man?
I know.
Come on.
Well, it might just be me and you, Chris, because Laura just said she wanted me to mail her the bracket.
What?
So.
What do you mean?
She said send me the bracket, and I go.
Snail
She said the
mail?
paper. She said the paper, and I was like, I gotta mail it to you. The tournament starts on Thursday. What do you go to one of the websites, ESPN, CBS, Yahoo. I don't know, print it out. What do you want me to do?
Every person in America has a bracket
Come on,
today.
what are we
and Laura's
doing
asking
here?
for us to send her one. What? Laura, that's
Oh,
great. Laura's on our team.
Beat the Rod job looking pretty good so far.
That's why she's on our team.
Beat the Raj.
That's why she's on our team, and that's who wins. That's who wins the pools.
Yes,
that's who wins the
exactly.
pool. That's why she's on
That
our
is who
team.
wins the pools. That is who wins them. All right, let's start off one-on-one, fellas. The Kansas City Chiefs quarterback, week 1 of the regular season, will be former first-round pick of the Chicago Bears, Justin Fields, or Patrick Mahomes, Abdalla.
So I wish that they had a better end of season, so it was like a bigger matchup. You know how week 1 they always try to put up a big rematch or something to really intensify the beginning of the season, and the Chiefs just only won a handful of games because they were bad last year. So the Chiefs probably won't have a good week 1 matchup because I think the NFL is we don't know if he's going to be back. So I think it's going to be Justin Fields. I think they're slow playing this because I keep going back to my theory that they're we don't know if we're going to be good this year. That's why we signed a $15 million running back, and that's why we gave a 47-year-old tight end $12 million in Travis Kelce. They're slow playing this year. I think it's going to be Fields.
I disagree. I think it's going to be Patrick Mahomes because I don't believe what you're selling. I don't think Kansas City is looking at this upcoming season as a let's wait till next year. That's not the case. You got Mahomes in his prime.
They're not going to rush him back.
Well, okay, they're not going to rush him back, but if he is in training camp, I think he starts week 1.
Okay.
If he's ready to go.
If he's ready to go, he's going to go. But
well, of course. So I don't think they're going to artificially hold him back to then start Justin Fields just to say, we're maybe not.
No, that's not what I'm
this
saying.
year.
That's
I don't
not what
think
I'm
that's
saying.
the
I'm
case.
saying he's not going to try to come back because it's Super Bowl or bust for them this year.
I think it is.
I don't think he's going to.
Every year with Patrick Mahomes is Super Bowl or bust.
I don't think he's rushing back. I don't think he's rushing back.
There's like 4 or 5 guys in the NFL every single year with them as your quarterback. It's Super Bowl or bust. And Mahomes is one of those guys.
We get disagreement on question 1. I like it. Let's go
Love
to
it.
question 2. Miami of Ohio should have been put in the field of 64. They should have been completely out of the tournament, or exactly where they were put in the first 4, Bleck.
Okay, so to me, Raj, this is a cop-out. This is the tournament, the committee, selection committee copping out by getting them into the tournament, but then also making them have to sing for their dinner. And what I mean by that is they have to now get out of the first 4 to then participate in the larger bracket, which is them really signaling that this team wasn't really supposed to be in the tournament in the first place. So I disagree. I think Miami of Ohio should have just been in this field of 64 and not participating in the first 4 this week.
I would have put him in the field of 64 unless you were going to do the cool thing that we talked about and have them face off with Auburn in the first 4. If you were going to do that, that would have been cool. And you actually have the opportunity to do this. We talk about this in college football. Like if you were debating between Notre Dame and whoever, you could why don't we just have them? You've got all this open time, just have them play and then give the winner that spot. You could actually do that. If you were debating between Auburn and Miami of Ohio, have them play it on Tuesday or Wednesday. You could have done that. You literally could have done that. And they're like, no. And it was great because Bruce Pearl had to sit there and watch and talk about it. But I would have done it if they would have done that.
Ken Palm, do you know where Ken Palm has Miami of Ohio for this season? Where they're ranked? They're ranked 93rd.
Oh. There's Auburn.
Auburn, I can look that up. Let's see. Auburn's 38.
Ooh, okay.
The team right ahead of Miami of Ohio is High Point. They're a 12 seed.
Okay, well.
So they get into the tournament, but Raj, I kind of feel like this is a cop-out, the way that they selected them to play in the first 4.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Next up, guys, the biggest loser of last week's canceled trade is the Raiders, the Ravens, or Max Crosby himself, Abdalla.
Ooh, the biggest loser is right now, it's the Raiders.
Loser.
Because they don't get 2 first-round picks. Eventually, Max Crosby will not be a Raider. He will be moved. But the Raiders are the biggest loser because they are not going to get 2 first-round picks for him now. They might get 1. They might not get any. They might end up only getting the second-round pick or more. But they miss out because he was worth 2 first-round picks, and now he's not. So it's the Raiders. Everybody's going to get what they want. The Ravens got a pass rusher in Trey Hendrickson. The Max Crosby is going to get to be on another team. But the Raiders are the one that are losing out on this because they had 2 first-round picks in their hand, and now they don't.
Okay, so I see what you're saying there. I originally wanted to say it's Max Crosby, but you pointed out a good thing that he will eventually get to a new team and he'll be okay. It is, and I agree with Adam. It's the Raiders. Missing out on 2 first-round picks makes you the biggest loser of this scenario. The Ravens are fine. Crosby will eventually be okay. It's going to be the Raiders. They'll be the biggest loser, even though publicly they're saying they want Max Crosby to be a part of the team. I don't buy that at all. They're trying to move him. He will be moved at some point, and they're not going to get 2 first-round picks back. So the Raiders are the biggest loser of that deal falling through.
All right, next up, guys, the story of the NCAA tournament will be Duke. I'm Duke. Or the field. Bleck?
Yes, and for those listening to Bleck and Abdalla for the first time, the I'm
Welcome.
Duke, that's Coach K. because
What's
he
your
is the
major?
all-powerful, mighty. He sits up there in the ivory tower
Duke.
on the Duke campus. I'm Duke.
What's your
What's your
major?
major? Tell me, student reporter. So we like to make fun of Coach K. The story of the tournament will be the field, because I think even though Duke will go far, I think what we have this year in college basketball is a collection of about 8 to 10 teams that all could make a run at a championship, and they all had really interesting regular seasons and a lot of success. And the college basketball this year has been really good. So I think the story will be the field, because we have a really good tournament in front of us and a bunch of teams that have a chance to win a title. So I'm going to go the field.
I agree with you. I think that Duke they haven't even been the story of the season. I think that you had, Michigan be the story of the season. You've had Houston be a story of the season.
We talked about Darren Peterson
Exactly.
multiple times during the middle of the season, and Kansas is not in that collection of teams that we're suggesting are going to win a title.
Whether we've had Josh Graham on or Kevin Kugler, every time we've had on a college basketball analyst, I've asked who is the best team in college basketball, and I've gotten a different answer.
I'm Duke.
So at one point it was Duke.
It's my team.
So
John,
I think
move
that
over.
It's the field, because we don't know. You legitimately don't know who it's going to be. And right now, I might not put Duke to make the Final Four because of their injuries. So we'll see.
Raj, would you be surprised if Duke was down 10 in the second half of a game? Would you be surprised if Coach K tapped John Shire on the shoulder and said, move over.
Move over.
John, move over. I'm taking over.
This is my team.
My team.
right now.
I've got a court named after me. I'm Duke.
All right,
Would you be
guys, back-
surprised?
I would not. I would be surprised by any of it. By the way, you're both
This is a
wrong. It's
national
definitely going to be
radio
Duke.
show.
They're like
Well.
the team everybody loves to hate in this thing. They got top NBA prospects. Everybody's going to be all over Duke. All right, next up, back to the NFL. Who will be the better receiver in 2026? Is it going to be A.J. Brown or Devontae Adams, fresh off a weekend where we're hearing the Rams were maybe kicking around the idea of moving on from Adams to bring in Brown? What do you say, Abdalla?
Oh, this is classic fence riding Abdalla here. Here we go.
I should have known better.
Here we go. Yeah, you should have gone to Chris first.
You should see Abdallah
This receiver
walk.
will be better on he'll have more receptions.
be.
This will have more receiving yards.
Well, no, it's going to be depending on what team AJ Brown is on. If he's an Eagle, like I said, it's going to be Devontae Adams, because he's got the better quarterback, because Matthew Stafford is better than Jalen Hurts. If AJ Brown goes to the Patriots and you've got Josh McDaniels and Drake May putting up a bunch of yards and throwing to him, and he's the number one receiver, I think it's going to be AJ Brown.
Okay.
If he goes to the Rams and you've got Devontae Adams going back to the Eagles, if that's like a player for player trade and there's something else thrown in there, then I think it's going to be AJ Brown. If he stays put with the Eagles, it's Devontae Adams. If AJ Brown leaves, it's AJ Brown. So I'm going to ride the fence, and that's how it goes.
All right. So
Did you follow
Bleck-
any of
so
that,
Bleck-
Raj?
No. And part of the point of one-on-one is you have to imply like multiple predictions in your answer.
Oh, so there you go.
Instead of just giving multiple answers depending upon. Black, can you give an answer in the spirit of what
gave
the
an
whole
answer.
thing is supposed to be?
I gave an answer.
Sure. You talked. You were saying words. That's what you were doing. My answer for you, Raj, would be this. It's going to be A.J. Brown, because I believe he will be traded to a team where he is the number one wide receiver. Therefore, he will have better stats and a better season next season than Devontae Adams. Back to you.
Thank you for following the instructions. I appreciate that.
What if
All
he's
right,
not
next
traded?
up,
What if he's not traded?
you have to imply that you think if he's
I
going to
stood
be or
on
not.
my opinion. He will be traded. He will be a number one wide receiver.
Team
don't know if he's gonna be the
USA
first.
has advanced to the final of the World Baseball Classic. Do you find yourself more or less emotionally invested than you expected, Mr. Black?
I'm going to say less. I enjoy the World Baseball Classic. I'm glad the United States won last night against the Dominican Republic, and they're going to play for the title game. And I'll watch tomorrow night as well. But I've kind of had the World Baseball Classic on in the background. I've been watching a lot of college hoops over the weekend, watching a little golf, the Players' Championship, watching the NBA as well. I'm going to say less. I just feel like tournament baseball is fantastic. I'm glad that this is what we have with baseball instead of just boring spring training games. But I don't feel like I'm overly invested in what takes place in the World Baseball Classic.
I am also less, and it's mostly because I feel like this this Team USA is a little bit tainted by Mark DeRosa and their manager.
Oh, no.
And what happened with him not knowing.
Oh, no, not America being tainted by a leader.
And, oh, no, don't do that.
Mark DeRosa.
And Mark DeRosa.
What are you doing? I'm talking baseball.
Yeah, okay. And him saying that he didn't know that they could have been eliminated, and then they had them saying that they weren't really prepared for the pitching, and it's been kind of like they've been overwhelmed by certain things. Like, I don't know. It just seems like they're not. I'm not saying that they're not taking it seriously, but it just seems like they're not ready for this. It just, like, behind the scenes, the coaching staff doesn't seem like they're prepared. And the way it ended last night with the obvious blown call at the end that should have been ball 4, and yes, the Americans probably would have ended up winning against the Dominican Republic on the next batter, whatever. That's fine. But you can't have a game end on that poor of a call. That's ridiculous. So I'm just a little bit less invested in it. I don't know. It just seems like they're not as prepared as they should be.
And finally, guys, the report came out earlier today from Shams Charania. Shout out, home team. Looks like we are closer to the NBA adding 2 expansion teams, one in Las Vegas, one in Seattle. So, Abdalla, I asked you, again, shout out, home team Abdalla. The NBA adding teams in Vegas and Seattle will be good or bad for the league?
I don't mind expanding teams. I don't mind if you're adding teams and players to the league and stuff like that. That's fine. I hate it when you add to the playoffs. I don't like that they added the play-in tournament. I don't like that they added more teams that are available that can, this extra tournament that they do. I don't care when you expand teams. More markets, Seattle can get their team back. That's cool. I don't like that when you add to the playoffs. Expansion's fine to me. I'm cool with it.
Okay, I'm going to say I'm out on this because the trickle-down effect. Abdalla listed off a bunch of negative aspects to things that the NBA could add in the future, and I think some of it has to do with adding 2 more teams. I think what you'll see is not only a change in the playoffs, but you also will get a change in realignment for the 2 conferences. The rumor that's out there is that Minnesota and then also Memphis would then switch to the Eastern Conference. So then also that would ask the question, does that change the divisions?
Yeah.
Do they get rid of divisions? I think all of the trickle-down stuff that comes along with adding 2 more teams, I think it's bad. So I would suggest don't do it. I don't know if your product is healthy enough to sustain 2 more teams for something that most casual people say they don't even watch in the regular season. So I would say, Raj, this is going to be bad for the league.
All right, and that will do it for one-on-one today, fellas.
Thank you, Raj. Appreciate you. Beat the Raj. We're coming for you with our bracket. We're going to try and take you down this week. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports, sponsored by Progressive Commercial Insurance, protecting your business vehicles 24/7. See if you can save at progressivecommercial.com. Are the Green Bay Packers about to become corporate sellouts? We talk about that next.
We are your official home of the NCAA tournament. Listen to every 3, every dunk, and every buzzer beater. Download the free Westwood One Sports app now and catch every second of March Madness. Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
All right, when I think about the Green Bay Packers, I think about one of the great NFL teams, great organizations, great franchises around the league that have culture, they have tradition. It goes back years and years and years. Are the Green Bay Packers about to become corporate sellouts? Well, CEO and president, Packers president Ed Policy, talked about the team looking into selling the naming rights of Lambeau Field. You can't sell the naming rights to Lambeau Field. What are we doing here?
Why not?
What do you mean, why not?
What do you mean, why not?
It's Lambeau Field.
So what?
Wrigley Field. Fenway Park. You can't change those things.
Why not?
Notre Dame Stadium.
Okay.
Those are institutions. You can't sell naming rights to Lambeau Field.
First of all, you named two baseball teams where the owners are insanely wealthy. Okay, the Packers are a publicly owned team where if you're I almost said something very mean about Packers fans.
Whoa, what are you doing here? I'm trying to talk a little football with you.
No, I understand that. If you're
some Packer fans,
if you're an investor in the team, you get a lovely document.
They're not real investors.
That says they're a publicly owned team.
Yeah, but
my point is that
fans don't actually own the Green Bay Packers.
My point is that the Ricketts, the owners of Wrigley Field, don't need to take in that kind of money.
Well, I'm labeling some of the great cathedrals.
Why can't it be Lambeau Field presented by?
Well, that's what Kansas City does.
Okay,
Kansas City, it's still Arrowhead, and it's something field at Arrowhead.
Okay, so why not do that?
It's just you're the Green Bay Packers.
You're not a Packers fan. Who cares?
Well, I'm just trying to support.
Make your money.
Tradition. NFL tradition is what I'm supporting, Abdalla.
I understand that, but if Ed Policy is saying, he also said he doesn't think that the team will be able to compete unless they sell naming rights. I think their fans want to compete in 2026 and 2027 and beyond in the NFL as costs of things get higher and the salary cap's going up and all that kind of stuff. They want to be able to, as all these teams are converting contracts into salary bonuses, they want to be able to write those checks for signing bonuses day of, so they can just hand players $40 million in a signing bonus to Jordan Love and all these other high-priced players when they have to rework a Micah Parsons deal so they can fit in another contract. Don't you want to just be able to write Micah Parsons a $30 million check? Well, if you're getting a check from insert company here because they have the naming rights to your stadium.
Farmers Insurance.
Whatever.
Isn't that what their baseball stadium is named?
Sure.
The baseball park in Milwaukee?
Lambeau Field presented by Farmers Insurance. Who cares?
Whatever it is.
No one is going to call it that.
What about milk? Remember the great ads from the 90s? Got milk? What if milk? The milk industry.
Wouldn't it be cheese? Wouldn't it just be cheese? You and I live in.
Where does the cheese come from, Abdalla?
You and I live in Chicago.
Where do you think the cheese comes from?
I know where it comes from. You and I live in Chicago. Who calls it Willis Tower?
Oh, nobody. Out-of-towners.
Yeah.
It's the Sears Tower. It still is.
Exactly.
Yes. Everyone knows what the Sears Tower is.
They changed the name when whatever Willis does. I don't even know what Willis does. What do they even do? I don't know. But everybody calls it the Sears Tower. We don't care. No one's going to call it Lambeau Field brought to you by State Farm or whatever it's going to be. And Jake's going to be there taking your tickets. No one's going to do that.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. We're broadcasting each and every day live from downtown Chicago. Raj Sharon is producing the show from Denver, Colorado. And Raj, did you watch the Academy Awards last night?
I can't say that I did, fellas. I did watch a few of the highlights of it, but in all honesty, I was not too familiar with some of the pictures.
I mean, come on, it's Conan O'Brien. Conan's the
great.
best. To see Conan is fantastic.
My favorite joke of the night is that F1 is getting a sequel and it's going to be called Caps Locks. I fell out at that joke. That was such a good joke.
It's smart and dumb.
Oh, it's so good.
It's great.
It's pure Conan.
And the final skit that Conan had after the award show was over was fantastic as well.
If you've seen one battle after another, yes, it's great.
So Raj, you have a couple of movie
I have some questions for you
us?
guys. Yes, because I was not familiar with these films, but I'm curious if you guys were. So here, let's play a little game. If you had heard of the movie, by the way, in the words of Jerry Seinfeld, we are doing this on the honor system. Okay.
Yes, the honor system.
The honor system. If you had heard of the movie before last night, you get a point. If you had seen the movie, you get 2 points. Okay. All right, first up, the winner of Best Picture and Best Director, one battle after another. Had you heard of it? Had you seen it?
Seen it.
Yes.
Seen it.
Heard it and saw it in theater. Yep.
Wow. Okay. All right. So 2 points each. Bleck 2, Abdalla 2. All right. Next up, I can't believe for the second straight week on Bleck and Abdalla, we have a Hamnet reference, but here we are. Hamnet. Best Actress winner. Had you heard of it? Had you seen it?
I heard of it.
Heard of it? Do you know the plot?
Did not see it.
Do you know the plot?
It's about coming up with a story or something.
Oh, my God. Can he not get the point for not knowing the plot?
No, he gets the point because the rules were heard of it. He'd heard of it. Right,
the problem is he knows all the nominees.
We are tied at 3. All right, next up, Sinners, which won Best Actor and Best Cinematography. Heard of it or seen it?
Saw it.
Saw it.
I saw it.
Yeah.
Wow, we are tied
movie.
at 5. And I tried to keep it to the ones I thought which were bigger. I should have added more. All right, next up, K-pop Demon Hunters. They won Best Song for Golden. Had you heard of it? Have you seen it?
I've heard of it.
I've heard of it. and
I've yet to see it.
I've heard that dang song 1,000 times, but I haven't seen the full movie yet. No.
I probably, if pieced together the scenes, I would get points on this because my daughter watches it all the time. But okay,
go.
so we're going to stay here. I think you guys are tied at 6 now. Going into the final one I put, for Best Sound, the winner was F1. Had you heard of it? Had you seen it?
Seen it. It was great. F1 was great.
Heard of
Abdalla?
it? Seen it.
Oh, wow.
You both,
All right.
Oh, he faked me out on it. We are tied.
Tied.
It ends
How
in a
about that?
tie?
It ends in a tie. You didn't put
Ends-
Marty Supreme on there?
I did. Okay, Marty Supreme. Heard of it?
Yeah,
Heard of it.
Heard of it.
Saw it.
I've
yet to see
goes to
Marty Supreme.
Abdalla.
How about that? Tiebreaker. Wins it. Walks it off.
On
Thank you,
a
Raj.
tiebreaker. Thank you, fellas. Happy Oscars.
How about that?
To be fair, I knew that because we talked about you not watching Marty Supreme in the break. So
Yeah, I'm aware of what takes place. Ping pong. He gets his butt slapped. There's a. I know what happens. There's a movie there.
that's also the plot of Hamnet, actually, too.
Is
yeah,
it?
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, actually, yeah.
We talk about March Madness. The brackets are out. That's coming up next here on Westwood One.
This is Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
That's right, Bleck and Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app, Sirius XM, Channel 375, and all of our great radio affiliates around the country. We're on the air until 3 Eastern, and then Jim Rome will take over right here on Westwood One Sports. I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla, broadcasting live from downtown Chicago. If you want to join us today, you can call us at 310-840-4910. You can also text that same number, 310-840-4910. We have our brackets out. We are trying to figure out who we should put as our final four, as we are going to try and beat Raj. As Raj Sharon produces our show every day, so Abdalla and I are going to team up. Laura produces the show as well. She's going to team up with us. The three of us are going to try and take down Raj Sharon. He will have his bracket. We will have ours. And we will keep you updated as we go along. With the NCAA tournament brackets that were released, the men and the women yesterday. On the men's side, Duke, Florida, Arizona, and Michigan are your number one seeds. And I think a lot of the conversation about who we're going to get the number one seeds is not really surprising to me. And quite honestly, nothing that took place over the weekend really changed what I thought would be the number one seeds going into the weekend and what we got here in the brackets.
No, I think that the only thing that might have changed is, look, Michigan lost to Purdue in the Big Ten championship game yesterday. It was a decent game. The only thing that might have changed is Florida losing to Vanderbilt the way that they did. But at the same time, everybody knows how good of a team Florida is. So I don't think them losing to Vanderbilt, because then Vanderbilt lost to Arkansas in their championship game, I don't think that was really going to change anything. Florida being also the weakest of these seeds as far as odds go, right? Like to win it all, they're plus 700 to win it all. Duke is the favorite at like plus 300. Then you've got Arizona and Michigan at like plus 350, plus 375. And then you've got Florida. That's where it kind of drops at plus 700. And then after that, when you're looking at the rest of these odds right now to win it all, you're looking at teams, like Houston is next after them. And after that, you've got, the rest of the two seeds. Purdue is in there. Iowa State, UConn, they're all like 13-1, 18-1, 28-1. So it really is Duke, Michigan, Arizona, and Florida, the chalk. Like you said, upsets are cool. Cinderella stories are cool. But when you get down to it, chalk in the Elite Eight and in the Final Four, because you want to see these blue bloods face off against each other again in the Final Four and in the Elite Eight.
Yeah, and when we look at it, we have all of your coverage right here on Westwood One Sports. Make sure you download the Westwood One Sports app. When the first four games start tomorrow night, so tomorrow and Wednesday, You'll get the action in all the games on Westwood One Sports. Make sure you have the app. And then Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday for the entire run of the tournament, all the way to Indianapolis in the Final Four. We've got you set and we've got you covered. So make sure you download the Westwood One Sports app. You know, the other thing you mentioned, chalk. I like picking chalk in my brackets. I know it's not interesting or unique and it's not flashy, especially on a day like today. When you hear someone telling you that they have North Dakota State going to the Final Four, I'm telling you that's a losing bracket. You know, and so when I take a first glance and I see Duke, Arizona, Iowa State, Houston, I've got 2 number 1 seeds, 2 number 2 seeds. That to me feels very chalky. And you and I will come up with our finalized bracket before we get to the games on Thursday morning. But, you know, when we look back to last year's Final Four in what we saw with Florida beating Houston, you know, I believe last year, all 4 number 1 seeds got to the Final Four.
Yeah, and it was the first time since 2008, and it's the only 2 times that has ever happened. So it's very rare. It's only happened twice. So I'm with you. I like Houston.
That is rare, but to get, you know, multiple number 1 seeds,
2 seeds,
and
a
then
3
2 and 3 seeds,
yeah,
that's
absolutely.
not that different.
No, not at all. I mean, you know, there's no reason Purdue couldn't get there. There's no reason, like you said, Houston winning it all isn't out of the realm of possibility. Duke has had injury problems this year. So, and they've got a big injury going into the tournament. So they could lose as well. That East region is stacked. Duke, St. John's, Kansas, Michigan State, UConn. You've got a ton of teams there. Kansas, like a ton of teams there that could take out Duke on their way of their goal to get to a national championship. That I wouldn't be surprised if any of those teams that I named ended up in the Final Four and taking out Duke in the process.
Last night on Westwood One Sports, Jason Horowitz and PJ Carlissimo had a show revealing the field of 68. They talked to a lot of great basketball people on the show, and including talking about that East region that Abdalla was discussing. Here's PJ Carlissimo talking about the East region.
I tell you what, that is going to be a tough bracket to beat. First one revealed. That is a loaded bracket. We got an 8-9 game that's beautiful. Big 10, Big 12. I've got 4 good buddies coming to San Diego. Rick Pitino, I was just so impressed doing the Big East tournament. I'm a little surprised. It's only, I don't know how many Big East teams are going to be in, probably only 3, and I got 2 in the same region. You know, that's a little disappointing that those 2 are going to could collide again to get out of that region. But I think that's a very, very strong region.
Yeah, and to PJ Carlissimo's point, for St. John's and UConn to meet up, that would have to be an Elite 8 game. So who knows if that's likely? But to his point, the tournament, if you look at the East bracket specifically, there are great matchups if teams don't get upsetted. Right? Like if there's no upsets in the East, you could have a second round matchup of St. John's and Kansas.
Yeah.
That's a great game. How about if you get 2 teams that get on to the Sweet 16, you could have Michigan State and UConn play in the Sweet 16, St. John's and Duke. And then Duke and Michigan State could be Duke, Michigan State, Duke, UConn. I mean, those 3 teams are heavyweights when you look at deep tournament runs. You know, we can talk all day long about what Duke's accomplished, but Connecticut has been one of those schools that for the last 30 years has really become one of the blue bloods in all of college basketball. And then Michigan State, we know what it is, right? There's multiple seasons, and one of the seasons is Izzo. Yeah. Right? Like, because in the spring, it's not spring, it's Izzo with a deep run to the Final Four in the tournament.
Yeah, there's January, February, and then Izzo, right?
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be surprising if even as a 3 seed, he gets them because Michigan State always ends up playing better. Like, I'm not saying they're going to make the Final Four as a 3 seed, but to get to Elite 8 wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility if they get through UConn to get there. So I could see that happening, and I think that would be a great game. UConn and Michigan State, 2 great coaches going up against each other would be awesome. If you got between either St. John's and Kansas matching up against Duke, and then Michigan State against UConn as your matchups there, that would be awesome.
Yeah, it would be really cool to kind of see that. So that's one bracket, the east side of the bracket, the East region. If we go over to the West, you mentioned Purdue and possibly being a team that could make a run. I keep taking a look at what Ken Palm has listed off. And when you look at the top teams in the country, Purdue being a 2 seed, they're the 8th best team in Ken Palm heading into the tournament. Robbie Hummel was on the call for many of Purdue's games in the Big Ten tournament. And he also joined Jason Horowitz and PJ Carlissimo on the show last night on Westwood One Sports. This is what Robbie Hummel had to say about Purdue.
I did the games of the Big Ten tournament until Friday, so I had both of Purdue's games, PJ, and whatever they did in the last week, they need to keep doing it. They look like a different team. I mean, they're energized. They're playing with energy and execution defensively, and Oscar Clough is just, rebounding outside his area and looks bouncy. And then when you've got a point guard like Braden Smith and what he's about to accomplish is truly a remarkable feat for breaking Bobby Hurley's assist record, assuming that, with really only health, I guess, at this point could keep him from doing that.
Yeah.
But, that's an incredible story, and Purdue all of a sudden looks like a team that could make the Final Four.
So there you go. Robbie Hummel on Westwood One Sports last night with PJ Carlissimo and Jason Horowitz. We got all your coverage for the NCAA tournament right here on the Westwood One Sports app. It's Bleck Abdalla hanging out with you until 3 Eastern. Is there anything else in the bracket that catches your eye as we kind of sit here on a Monday and on Tuesday trying to figure out which teams are going to go far?
Well, I think we talked about it before is players, right? We talk about players and guys that can take over. And one of the players that's going to be featured for BYU is AJ DeMonsta, and him being the best player in this draft and being what people think is the number 1 pick in the NBA draft, and his team in BYU being a 6 seed in that West bracket. And how far can they go? I've seen brackets that have them as a one and done and losing against either Texas or NC State, whoever comes out of that first 4 matchup here. And then also I've seen brackets have them getting all the way to the Elite 8. So when you have a player like that is projected to be the number 1 overall pick, and he can take over the game the way that he does, and people haven't really been familiar watching BYU games, and now this is the time, because this is the guy that's going to be taking the number 1 overall pick in the NBA draft this year. How far can he carry this team? This isn't a Final Four team. This isn't a team that's going to get past Arizona, I don't think. But that would be a good story in this tournament. A minor Cinderella story. They're not a 12 seed. They're not a 10 seed or anything like that anybody's going to fall in love with. But this is a player that people can watch, that NBA fans can watch, that you're going to see. This isn't a guy that plays for Duke like Cooper Flagg was last year. As everybody was watching Duke last year, they're on primetime every single night. I just hit my mic again. You give me the worst.
Are you okay?
You get. I talk with my hands, and every once in a while I hit the bottom of my leg, and you mean mug me so bad when I accidentally hit my mic. Like, you give me the meanest looks. Like, I've been married for 14 years, and my wife doesn't even look at me that badly when I accidentally hit my mic. Like, it is so mean the way you look at me when I accidentally hit my mic. People make mistakes, Chris. People
Abdalla,
make mistakes.
how would you compare how he looks at you when you do that to when you slap the table? Like, how does that compare?
It's not as bad, because I do that when we're talking about slapping the floor in March. When we're slapping the floor, that's different. That's different.
5-man floor slap? Duke style? 5-man floor slap?
That's fine. We're doing a floor slap here. I accidentally tapped the mic, and people can barely hear it. And this dude is ready to kick me out of the studio.
I didn't say a word.
The side eye you gave me.
I just looked at you. I was just making sure you're okay.
People can watch us on youtube.com/Bleck and Abdalla show. They saw it. I
was just trying to make sure you're okay, my man.
I would like to see BYU go far, because the number 1 player in the draft is going to be on this team, and I would like to see them go far. And I'm animated because I'm that excited about it.
I mean, what are we doing here?
I'm trying to have a conversation, and you're mean mugging me.
This is what we have leading into Jim Rome. Come on.
Yeah, mean mugging.
I don't, honestly, I was not trying to give you a mean mug. I just looked.
It was the mean mug. It was the meanest of mugs.
I'm sorry I have resting mean mug face.
You do.
I think they call it something else.
Yeah, they do, and I cannot say that leading into Jim Rome here, else we will no longer be leading into Jim Rome.
You might.
I think, I think it depends.
I'm sure some radio affiliates would not appreciate it.
Yeah,
though,
a lot of our great affiliates around this country would probably not appreciate it.
I wasn't intentionally trying to give you a mean mug or a resting blank face.
Well, you did.
I just looked.
You did.
I'm sorry that my look is just that irritating to you that you had to go off on a rant.
You make it.
Listen
You make
to this
it.
gaslighting. Black is like turned this around
right?
where he's the victim
Right?
now.
Now,
This is amazing.
now it's now you. I could say the word on Sirius XM channel 375 if I wanted to, but our affiliates would not appreciate it. This guy over here.
I don't know how else to react.
Now I'm getting
I don't
gaslit.
know.
Oh man, this is mean. Where's HR when I need them?
I just won't look. I'll just look directly at the camera from now on. I won't look over at Abdalla. It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports. I mean, Raj,
I'm gonna sit here.
I don't know what to do.
I'm gonna sit here with my hands, with my fingers intertwined like this, and I'm not gonna talk animated. I'm not gonna be animated like I usually am. I'm gonna sit here.
Don't talk anime.
I'm not gonna sit here, and I'm not gonna talk about K-pop Demon Hunters or any other anime.
And Laura says we're fighting like an old married couple.
Yeah, because that's essentially what we are. I've known you longer than my wife, and you've known me longer than your wife. So
that is true. That is the story. Bleck
This
Abdalla
does have
here
a
on
very
Westwood.
like Michael Cera and Jonah Hill super bad vibe to it.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, yeah. I'm definitely Jonah Hill. I'm definitely Jonah Hill. I'm definitely trying to fill up empty Tide containers with beer. Like that's me. I'm definitely filling up empty Tide containers with beer.
I'm glad that Raj got that.
Yeah.
I did get it.
See, Raj and I are having a great time. You are so annoyed right now by us.
No, I'm not. I'm having a great time.
I don't think you are.
I am.
I think you're really irritated.
I'm not.
Should we take some phone calls? Would you like that?
Yeah.
All right. You can call us at 310-840-4910. We go to Carl in Illinois. You're on with Bleck Abdalla. What's up, Carl?
What's up? So check this out. In about 5 to 7 years, you're going to see Lambeau Field at Sargento Stadium and Hallis Field at the Kraft Dome. And we're going to be able to hold it over their heads that our cheese stadium is better than theirs. I think that the NBA needs to introduce a third round to the draft with all the European talent and exposure, and they have to have a tournament for all the teams that didn't make the playoffs to determine who gets the number one pick to prevent tanking. Those need to be added instead of more teams, because we got to get things right. So it's not professional wrestling. Real quick, I think that Devontae is definitely a better option despite his age than A.J. Brown, because not only is he a better producer and a more loyal teammate than A.J. Brown, who's a whining, Sweeney-style Wicked Witch of the South. Do you remember when people were saying that Sydney Sweeney, because of this boxing movie, there was like Oscar buzz around her performance, and this is a great performance? And like, that movie got nothing, and it was terrible. All these big conglomerates pushing her in our face saying, she's so talented, and you'll believe us because we're rich. She's so bad. And I want to also brag on Friday. I did call the Sean Penn Lifetime Award, Best Supporting Actor. That
You didn't even go.
What an upset. Good
I got that correct. And he was not the favorite, so that wasn't like I just picked chalk on that. But eventually, I'm upset because I lost all the money I won on that. On my best score pick. Sinners won for best original score, and I voted for 8-5. But that's what I get for listening to Mark DeRosa when he told me he knew exactly who was going to win the best score. So I picked 8-5, and I am picking Illinois to lose to North Carolina in the second round. And my final four picks are Houston, Duke, Michigan, and BYU.
All right.
BYU. All right.
Carl, thank you for the
Devonta
call.
fan.
Appreciate
All
it. There you go.
right.
Carl in Illinois with Bleck
I love
Abdalla. Oh, thank you, Carl.
Thanks, Carl.
Appreciate it. There he is. Carl in Illinois. You want to
Carl
join
got
the show?
kind of back on track.
Well, Carl, see, what he did there was a nice recap for anyone who's
Making
missed
a list,
the
yeah.
first 2 hours of Bleck and Abdalla. A nice, tidy recap on what took place on the show to this point. So if you want to join us, you can call us at 310-840-4910. It's Bleck and Abdalla right here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Who are the 5 most improved teams in NFL free agency? We'll talk about that coming up next. But first, every March, the tournament delivers the unexpected. This year, DraftKings Sportsbook is leaning into the chaos with Mystery Reward.
When you're set to place your bet, just select your mystery token in the bet slip and use cash or DK dollars to lock it in. Opt in today at DraftKings Sportsbook.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use code B&A. That's code B&A for Bleck and Abdalla to opt in and claim your mystery reward at DraftKings Sportsbook. In partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-MY-RESET. New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. Must be 21 plus in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. One reward per customer. Rewards vary and expire at the end of the final college basketball game. Each tourney round when offered. See terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos for more details.
Follow the big wave of free agency. Who are the favorites to make it to LA for Super Bowl 61? And who has the most work to do heading into the NFL draft? We're breaking down the big news and what it means for your team on Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
All right, who are the most improved teams in NFL free agency? There's a new article up on ESPN.com talking about the 5 most improved teams and the best signings in NFL free agency. We're going to talk about it here on Westwood One Sports. I'm Chris Bleck along with Adam Abdalla. We discussed last week some of the winners and some of the losers of free agency, our initial reaction to last week's free agency movement in the NFL. The one team we both agreed on last week was the Tennessee Titans. We both thought the way the Tennessee Titans spent early in free agency to lock in defensive players, some help for the wide receivers, all the different moves that Tennessee made last week, we put them in the category of a winner for free agency. So when we kind of look at what ESPN has put together for the 5 most improved teams, the Titans are not on that list. But I did want to start this conversation by saying, like, you and I both pointed out that we liked what Tennessee did last week.
Yeah, I think what they did was great. You know, you brought in a bunch of guys for Cam Ward to work with on the offense because Brian Dable is familiar with them. And then you brought in a bunch of defensive players for your head coach, Robert Saleh, to work with and take over this defense. And before that, that's why before the Steelers' job was available, before the Bills' job was available, before the Ravens' job was available, like those high-profile jobs, when it was just the bottom feeder usual jobs that are available, like the Cardinals and the Titans and the Dolphins' jobs.
The usual jobs that are available every 2 to 3 years.
Those are the jobs that are available every cycle, aren't they? And that was, to me, the most attractive job because your quarterback was already in place. We at least knew the floor of Cam Ward. We knew that he was at least going to be decent. And you had $100 million in cap space to spend, and that's how you can flip. If you look at the last 2 years of teams that have spent a bunch of money that have been towards the bottom of their division, it was the Washington Commanders spent a bunch of money. They got a quarterback. They got to the NFC Championship game. The New England Patriots were towards the bottom of their division. They spent a bunch of money. They got their quarterback. They went to the Super Bowl. I'm not saying the Titans are going to do that. They're in a competitive division. I expect them to compete in that division. I think they have a chance to win that division. I don't think they're going to go all the way to the Super Bowl in a competitive AFC, but I think they can compete and have a chance to go from worst to first in that division if Brian Dable can get the best and develop Cam Ward in 1 year and all of those free agent signings hit. They usually also say, if you win free agency, you're not necessarily going to win the regular season.
Yeah, and that's been the way it used to work, although I feel like recent times has suggested that you can go out and spend and then turn your football team around pretty quickly. And we saw that last year. New England and Chicago both spent big time in free agency last year, and one of those two teams got to the Super Bowl, the Patriots, and the Bears made the playoffs.
Yeah.
So you can do that. Also, 2 years ago, Washington, the Commanders, spent big. They flipped it around pretty quickly as well. So it does seem like we've entered a new territory of NFL free agency where if you're smart about it and you're not just throwing big money at names, older players who are switching teams, who are has-beens. Like, I feel like that's the way free agency used to operate, is that you saw the big name and it's like, oh, we can sign that guy. And then a team would throw all this money at this player who's no longer producing at the level that made him who he was to start with. And then that's where you get the drop in production. If you're going after guys who can still play and you're really adding starters or more to your team, I think that's where you can really build. So here's the article on ESPN.com. Aaron Schatz is the one that put this together. Here are the 5 teams who improved the most in NFL free agency last week. The first team up, this is all alphabetical. So the first team up, the Carolina Panthers. This is a team that you and I talked about last week as one of my winners from NFL free agency. I like Tennessee. I also thought Carolina did a great job. Jalen Phillips, the linebacker, the edge rusher, signs a big deal. And I like the way that Carolina went out and addressed some needs defensively, and they've improved from one year to the next.
Yeah, I think Jalen Phillips is great. He had, just the 2 sacks, but he had 27 pressures. And if you convert some of those pressures and actually get home on that next year, I think that'll be great for Jalen Phillips and the Panthers. Their defense was abysmal last year. So if this can improve that at all, Bryce Young can take another step forward. He played really well towards the end of the season. People were writing him off 2 years ago and saying Bryce Young is a bust. They need to move on and just draft another quarterback and start fresh. But Bryce Young has kind of come on and really taken advantage of the coaching. And I think that they also have a chance to win that division. And I think that adding these players on defense, I think also, too, they added an offensive tackle from the Packers. The Packers are getting rid of a bunch of people, too. The other moves, too, that they signed this offensive tackle, Rasheed Walker, I think he's going to be really good. You have to protect Bryce Young a little bit more, and adding that tackle, I think, will do that a lot as well. I really like the moves that they made, too.
Next up on the list for the teams that improved the most in NFL free agency, the Kansas City Chiefs. The biggest signing was Kenneth Walker III, going from Seattle, signing a 3-year, $43 million deal to be the running back for the Chiefs. We also had news today. Kansas City makes the trade for Justin Fields. So Justin Fields getting traded to Kansas City for a backup role for the Kansas City Chiefs. So this is one where it's on the list on ESPN.com. I think I will disagree. I don't think, and I don't like the way Kansas City spent last week. Do you agree with that assessment? Or are you leaning towards this was a great improvement for Kansas City in free agency last week?
If you want to say that Kansas City had one of the worst run games in the NFL last year, which they did, and then you want to say they got the Super Bowl MVP and one of the best running backs in the NFL last year, that's exactly what they did. So they improved. That's the title of the article.
Yeah, but
improved.
would you categorize Kansas City in the winners list, or
not necessarily?
I don't agree because I don't. And I feel like, are you and I crazy? Are we the only ones that don't value running backs the way that I feel like a lot of people see that sign? They're like, oh, they got a Super Bowl MVP as a running back now. This is going to be great for the Kansas City Chiefs. Is it? He can't catch out of the backfield. He's a bad pass blocker.
Yeah.
So you're getting a 2-down back. Wait, I don't understand the overhype for this signing with the Kansas City Chiefs.
Well, I think that the problem here is that I rank the offensive lines higher. So I feel like if you want to improve your running game, you didn't need to go out and get the best running back. What you should have done is work to improve your offensive line and gotten a slightly better running back for cheaper money, and not given Kenneth Walker all that guaranteed money and $15 million and whatever it was, So I think that they should have done themselves a favor and improved their offensive line, because that not only improves your running game, it helps out Patrick Mahomes. You're killing 2 birds with 1 stone here by developing and improving your offensive line. That's why I think Kenneth Walker was so successful with the Seattle Seahawks. Kenneth Walker only does one thing. He runs the football. He can't catch, he can't block. So you're only doing one thing.
Yep.
Your offensive line helps run the ball, and they protect your quarterback. So why are you only addressing one issue where you could be addressing multiple issues at the same time? I just didn't like it.
As we continue on, these are the teams that improved the most in NFL free agency. Next up on the list, the New England Patriots. And I agree. I thought the Patriots did pretty well in free agency. Biggest signing, Romeo Doubs, wide receiver, goes from Green Bay to now the Patriots. Drake May has a good lead receiver, and we'll see what else they do here in this offseason to help the receiving core.
I like this signing a lot, too. I think they gave him a bunch of money, though, but that's fine. They've got a lot of money to spend. Even though they spent one of the most amounts of money last year, they had all these contracts worked out to where they were a lot of one-year deals, a lot of second-year options for the team. So they were able to spend a lot more money this year, too. They still have the money to absorb the A.J. Brown contract if they are able to trade for him. So they not only add that, you've got also, they added Kevin Byard, the safety from the Bears. They added another edge rusher. They added a bunch of players here. Again, you wanted to add to the offensive line, too. I know that you gave help to Drake May by adding Dobbs. I think they should have added to the offensive line. Drake May was one of the most sacked quarterbacks in the NFL last year. Help out your offensive line, or tell Drake May to get rid of the football faster, whichever is going to help but more.
Yeah, you mentioned the edge rusher, Draymond Jones.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be really good for the Patriots as well. Another team on the list, so the 5 teams ESPN has listed as the most improved teams in NFL free agency, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And we both agree that this was a team that won free agency last week, not only with the signings that they pulled off, but also the trade. The big trade for Michael Pittman Jr., I thought was a huge move. Trading with the Indianapolis Colts for Michael Pittman Jr. I think that's a big time signing and trade. And then they gave the contract and the money to Pittman as well.
Yeah, that's the big part, is that you're not just renting him for a year. You actually gave him the extension, and he's going to be around for the future. So whatever quarterback they decide to either draft or sign the year after this, when Aaron Rodgers decides to retire, if they end up with Aaron Rodgers, he still hasn't made his decision. So I like that move because you now have Pittman on one side, you've got DK Metcalf on the other side. It's a great move because that's what you needed. There were so many times when Aaron Rodgers was screaming at someone or screaming into the air or something because wide receivers weren't on the same page with him. He wasn't on the same page with wide receivers. Now you just got a much better wide receiver to go along with DK Metcalf. It just helps everybody.
The final team on the list, the San Francisco 49ers. They signed Mike Evans, a huge move, my favorite move of all free agency. So it makes sense to see the 49ers on this list as well as teams that improved the most from last year to this year in just free agency.
He's coming off an injury. I like the signing too. It helps Brock Purdy out a lot. He's one of the better options. I would have liked to see him go to a team like the Patriots and really help out Drake May. I know they got Dobbs. That's a good move for them too. But a team that gets Mike Evans, he's going to help any team that he goes to. So this is a good move for them, assuming he can stay healthy for the whole year because he's injured right now. And I know he can come back and be healthy for them, but the 49ers have an injury history. You have to say, I know that you can't plan for injuries, but with the 49ers, you have to say that they get injured all the time because they do. They get injured all the time.
And why,
all the time.
Why is that, Adam?
It's not necessarily because of the substation that they practice next to and have their games next to, but
the electrical substation.
But you know, where there's substation, there's fire, I guess, or torn ligaments, or
hopefully not.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just worried for his ligaments.
Let me ask you a question. I don't want to give away where you live. Do you know if you live near an electrical substation? Because that would be,
my ligaments are fine.
That would be the best if you're like your backyard was up against an electrical substation. I think that would be fantastic. If we found out later on that the reason Abdalla is so anti 49er substation conversation is because you actually live near one.
Let me see.
You're looking it up?
Yeah, I'm looking it up.
All right. As you look that up, I will also let people know that earlier today we had a trade in the NFL. The Kansas City Chiefs have found their new backup quarterback. That's right. Justin Fields traded from the Jets to the Chiefs, and the Chiefs will send a 2027 sixth-round pick to New York as Justin Fields, who's 27.
No, I don't. I don't. Live next to an electrical substation, just so you know.
Raj?
I don't.
Mid-sentence.
I know. Exactly.
Well, you wanted an answer.
Well,
I gave you one.
I can't look at you. So
I wanted to give you an answer. I don't live next to any substations.
Okay. How far away is the closest?
Well, there's one down here, apparently.
Yeah, in the city?
Right by where we are.
Yeah, well, I can tell you're a little twitchy today.
Well, there's one right up, there's one close to us.
I mean, we could have known how he would have
specific.
reacted if he had just, been a team player when we were in San Fran and checked it out.
If you would have gone and checked it out for
There's
us.
3 of us. Well, either of you two could have gone too.
Raj and I were busy.
I was busy too. Someone's got to try all these soups. They're not going to eat themselves, guys.
There
during
may
Super
in the
Week?
substation be a cafeteria that had served soup.
I'm
You
not
could have
eating.
substation
I'm not
soup.
eating. I'm not eating ACL soup.
Like I was saying, Justin Fields, 27, will now get a chance to be a backup in Kansas City. The ESPN article points out to facilitate the trade, the Jets are paying $7 million of Fields' $10 million owed to him in 2026, the guaranteed salary. Sources tell ESPN. Kansas City will pay the remaining $3 million, just like the Jets did when they traded for Geno Smith last week. So as part of that trade, the Jets will pay Smith the $3.3 million, while the Raiders are paying off the rest of that contract. So there's a little money going back and forth as well as Kansas City gets their backup, Justin Fields. And I think it's a good situation for Justin Fields to learn and to develop under Andy Reid and not have the pressure to have to be the guy, because Mahomes is the guy in Kansas City. And I think this is great for Justin Fields because what happened in his last two stops, in Pittsburgh, he was expected to be the guy. He's not the guy. When he got to New York, yeah, there's a competition, but they gave him a lot of money as if he's the guy. He's not the guy. Justin Fields takes some time to develop, and maybe you will pop back up as a potential starter for a team in a season or two. I think that's the best play for Justin Fields.
We got to play for people to see that you have the potential. Like, you can't just sit around and not.
Yeah, but think about how this offseason has transpired. Who's the guy that got wildly overpaid for?
Malik Willis.
Because he's just filled in a couple spots. He's played like six games in 2 seasons.
That's my point, is that you got to play.
So if Fields gets a couple spot starts and looks decent,
and he could.
He can cash in next offseason.
Mm-hmm. And I think he could, because if Mahomes, in this injury, coming back from the torn ACL, if he's not ready to go for week 1 or week 2, and Justin Fields has to start in week 1, then there's your opportunity. Someone can look at that and say, we can win with that next year. And they might. If someone thinks they can win with Malik Willis, or the Dolphins think they're better off tanking with Malik Willis, then at least he gets his money.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. The USA beat the Dominican Republic 2-1 last night to move on to the final game of the World Baseball Classic. Is Abdalla anti-American?
Okay.
We talk about that next.
The hell is wrong with you?
What a free agency. Troy Hendrickson's now in Baltimore. Kenneth Walker's with the Chiefs. And Mike Evans is in San Fran. We're keeping tabs on what the moves mean and which teams have the most work to do on Westwood One Sports.
At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 4 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes and 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 3 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 2 minutes. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute, 30 seconds. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 1 minute. Stations, this is your final time check. At the tone, the broadcast will begin in 30 seconds.
This is Bleck and Abdalla on Westwood One Sports. Here's Chris Bleck and Adam Abdalla.
In the World Baseball Classic, Team USA advanced to the final last night. They beat the Dominican Republic 2-1. Tonight, Italy and Venezuela will face off. That's 8 o'clock Eastern on FS1. So we get a big game tonight, and then the final is Tuesday night. So the World Baseball Classic is about to wrap up. Abdalla, defend your honor here. I suggested to the audience that you might be anti-American when it comes to the World Baseball Classic. Why have you taken this stance?
First of all, screw you. Like, what are you doing? Why would you word it like that?
Well,
what is wrong with you?
It's attention grabbing. And earlier you said you were rooting for the Dominican
I never
Republic.
said that. Never said that. First of all, I never said that. Those words at no point came out of my mouth.
So what did you say earlier?
No, what I said was we were asked a question during one-on-one that we do every Monday with Raj. And the question was, USA has advanced to the final of the World Baseball Classic. Do you find yourself more or less emotionally invested as you expected? And you and I said less emotionally invested.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. Is right, Raj. Thank you. We both said less emotionally invested. And I'm
still pulling for my squad, though.
Yeah, I'm still pulling for my squad, too. And I said the reason is that I feel like Mark DeRosa kind of screwed this up. And it doesn't. And like Andy Pettit, their pitching coach, had some comments about how he wasn't prepared. Like, obviously, the Dominican Republic only scored 1 run. So obviously they were prepared for the hitting.
Yeah.
But going into the game, they said they weren't prepared for their hitters. That's your job. It doesn't seem like the team was prepared for this tournament when your only job is to be prepared for this tournament? And your job as managers, and like Mark DeRosa wants to be a manager of a team at some point. Take pride in your job, man. Like, you're supposed to be representing this country as managers of this team. And you're saying out loud, you're not prepared. The manager of the team didn't know that you could have been eliminated and you had to sit at home
But they
and
weren't.
hope. Okay, they were lucky.
And they're playing in the championship game tomorrow.
Cool, great. And I'm going to root for them tomorrow. And that's awesome. But it's just to me, and it seems to me like the managerial staff of this team wasn't ready to do their job in this tournament.
Okay, let me run this by Raj, because Raj, I think Abdalla thought the way I kind of interpreted the way he looks at this situation was based off your one-on-one question from earlier in the show. But I wrote that down before we even got to one-on-one.
Oh, okay.
I wrote down, is Abdalla anti-American? Because when we were talking before the show started, you were telling Raj and I, and Raj backed me up on this, you were telling us that you thought the American team, that they were boring. And you were loosely rooting for the Dominican Republic because they celebrate everything.
No, I was saying that
Did that not happen before the show?
I don't know if he word for word said that, but you could imply it. You could imply
I was saying that
especially
I like
because
the
of
way
the bat flip stuff and
I
the celebrations.
did say that the American team, like when they hit home runs and when they have the players that they
act like they've been there before.
Yeah, and
it's
that's
professional.
No, it's not fun. When the Dominican, when all the other teams, when all of the other countries hit home runs, that bat is launched to the sky, and they act like they're having fun. They're hanging out with their friends that they don't get to play with all the time because they go back to their respective teams. And like the Italian team are all Major League Baseball players. They have an espresso machine in their dugout, and they take shots of espresso when they hit home runs. Like, the American team is just put your head down and run around the bases. Like, do something cool, man.
So
put an eagle in the dugout.
Now Black, be careful.
Yeah, why not,
you are
man? Let's
handing
do
him
something
the
cool.
shovel, Black. You are handing Abdalla the shovel and letting him dig his. I see what you're doing here. I know.
Yeah, and guess what? I'm not going to take it. I'm saying do something cool that's American. Bring out Skinner and let them play Freebird in the dugout, dude.
Now hockey teams did that, and that
I
was
know
awesome.
that. Like, do something cool. Smash a guitar every time you hit a home run. Like, let's do something cool, America. Stop letting these teams one-up you.
Stop yelling at me.
No, I won't.
I mean,
you are the one that's un-American.
No, but
You're the one that's like, oh, let's put our head down and let's like act like we've been there before.
Professionals.
No, let's have some fun. We're the country that lights off 1,000 fireworks on the 4th of July. Let's do something cool when we hit home runs.
Could you imagine Schwarber setting off
there you go.
fireworks
Thank you.
in the dugout as players are running around the bases?
I want take that bat with you and pretend to play Freebird on your bat as you're running around the bases.
Air guitar with it all the way around.
As you're running around. I want Kyle Schwarber to hit a home run and pretend to play Freebird on his bat as he's running around the bases. Do something cool. Act like you've been there before. This is a World Baseball Classic. This isn't real. This is supposed to be fun.
No, this is everything.
I know it is. That's why it's supposed to be fun. Come on.
So was I wrong in suggesting that you were taking an anti-American slant on
Yes, you're
this?
absolutely wrong. I want them to lighten up.
You were supporting the Dominican Republic in the
I'm supporting the fact that they are so lighthearted about this and having fun and like showboating, and that's what this is.
It is fun, and it's been fun to see throughout the tournament. The different teams care so much. Venezuela, they care so much.
Yes.
The Japanese team cares so much. And to see the Italians get to this point, to the matchup tonight against Venezuela, it should be a great matchup.
Yeah, and it should be. And I want to see espresso shots.
And it doesn't even matter if it's like murky on whether or not they're actually Italian players or if they're Americans born in New Jersey or Michigan and they have an uncle or an aunt who are from Italy. It doesn't matter. It's the World Baseball
They're going
Classic.
to the shore afterwards.
Yeah,
Who cares,
right.
man? They're gym tanning and laundry afterwards. Who cares?
Chapstick.
Absolutely. Who cares? That's what I want to see. I want in the championship game. This is on you, Americans. Do something cool when you're hitting home runs. That's
Okay.
all I want.
All right. I just want to make sure that we get that out there.
I think you're the one that's un-American and anti-fun.
Well, I would like some fun. I would like the American squad to win.
I think they should put bottle rockets in their pockets and start firing them off as they're running around the bases. Let's do something cool.
That's the Bananas. Drake's got that covered.
Drake does have that
Drake's
covered.
got with the Bananas. They've got the Savannah Bananas. They'll do that for you. They got the fireworks. they do a little of that.
They
banana
should
action.
Do that
in the final.
Do something fun.
It's Bleck Abdalla here on Westwood One Sports and the Westwood One Sports app. Do you want to defend all the drunk people that were in the city of Chicago on Saturday for St. Patrick's Day as they dyed the river green?
No.
Which, by the way, we can see the river from where we're sitting
Still
right
green.
now. It's actively snowing in downtown Chicago, and the river is still green days later.
No, I'm a 41-year-old man. I am beyond getting drunk and blitzed out in the city of Chicago and carrying around a gallon jug of alcohol that's known as a Borg and getting it confiscated by the police of Chicago.
Okay, so the thing that young people do is they name their Borg. What would you name your Borg?
Ingleborg Humperdinck.
That's outstanding. Yeah, they carry it around, and then the cops take it away. All right, Bleck Abdalla, we'll be back tomorrow, noon to 3 Eastern. Jim Rome is up next.
This is Westwood One Sports.